But before we get into the program, just a few housekeeping rules so that we make sure that this event is as smooth as we would want it to be. First of all, please let's make sure that we keep our phones on silence so that they don't disturb the speakers or any other conversations that are taking place in the room. And for those that need ablution facilities, restrooms, by the main entrance, if you're by the main entrance, your first door to your right, which is my left, that is for the gentlemen. And then your first door to your right, to your left rather, which is sorry, my right, that is for the ladies. Now, without further ado, please allow me to welcome Engineer Maposa to just give us an introduction of what Ndarama Technologies is all about. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause as he's coming on the stage.
Good morning, everyone. You are making my life even more difficult. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you for accepting our invitation. Yeah, like our MC has apologized. There are some technical issues that we are facing, hence we have delayed. But so we are just going to enter into a short session where probably I'm going to introduce the trust behind this seminar. So I'll do a formal introduction of Ndarama when our guests arrive, because I don't want to do it now and then repeat it again. But I'm just going to give a brief. So Ndarama Technologies is I'm tempted to not to say startup, because Ndarama is not a startup. It's a proper company that is under HIT. I'm going to give a history in my formal introduction. But for now, just know that Ndarama is a company that is under HIT. We are not in the hub. It's a company that is being birthed as an adult. It's not a baby. It's a grown baby with teeth, with beard, and even running. So we are in at 10 Hopley Avenue in Greendale. Our main thrust is to automate and provide solutions for the government, private sector, and to do digital transformation for Zimbabwe. And the name Ndarama is coming from I know Ndarama is gold, and the new gold is what? Data is the new gold. So we're going to discuss. I have a question that I'm going to throw at you. So probably so that we can discuss. Um, why is Facebook worth 1.4 trillion US dollars? Yet, Mr. Majoni, have you ever paid for using Facebook? We use Facebook for free, but it's worth 1.4 trillion US dollars. Google, I'm pretty sure a lot of us have got Gmail accounts, and we use Google to the extent of we now say Google, if you want to look for something, it's for free, and it's worth 4.8 trillion US dollars, and yet we use it for free. Where are they getting their monies from? You get it? You know, anyone? Any taker? It's so puzzling. Facebook also paid 1 billion to buy WhatsApp. You get it? Why? And WhatsApp is a free app. No one pays for WhatsApp. We use all those platforms for free. Right now, have you seen that if you have a number on WhatsApp, but the person is not your friend on Facebook, Facebook will recommend people you might know. just by having a number on WhatsApp. And have you also seen that when you meet someone, just meeting someone, you start seeing their posts on Facebook? You get it? Why is it so? You know, Facebook now knows us more than we know ourselves. Same applies with Google. They know us more than we know ourselves. We're still with WhatsApp. Even the chats that we delete, they still have somewhere, and they know us more than we even know ourselves. So there is something that is called social engineering that is happening, where even it's now even made even worse with the advent of these artificial AI platforms like chat GPT, your Kimi 2, etc, where you give them prompts. You get it? I saw there was something that was trending, where people would generate a cartoon of themselves showing who they are. You get it? You still remember? That only shows how much information these platforms have gathered about ourselves. You get it? So, as Zimbabwe and Africa in general, we are playing catch up. We have a lot of ground to cover, because um, I was shocked. Some of the information I'll divulge is a bit classified, but um, there's a project that we're doing for police, um, and we learned that the registry for firearms in Zimbabwe, if, for example, Dr. Chirunge, you want to buy a firearm, you get a license from police, right? That registration is done in a certain system, and that system is not a Zimbabwean system. The database is residing beyond the borders. So we don't know who has which firearm in Zimbabwe here. And at some point, the license had expired and we could not have access to that information, which is what? Very dangerous. You get it? So that's what motivated us to start Ndarama, because we want to design systems that speak to Zimbabwean needs, and also so that we own the data. AI is a buzzword right now. Yesterday, someone was asking, is AI here to stay, or is just a hype that is happening and it will just fade? And I said, no, AI is here to stay. It's not a buzzword and a hype. It is here to stay. So, as Zimbabwe, it will be difficult for us to talk or discuss anything meaningful if we don't own the data. And if we also don't own the digital platforms and even the infrastructure. So hence we came up with this seminar, so we can discuss and we can also map the way forward on how we can move from being consumers of AI to creators of AI. So this is the background of this seminar and what we are trying to achieve today. Hallelujah. All right. So I'll ask if we have any questions or contributions or anything to say, so that we at least we kick we do a discussion while at least we are waiting for our guests to arrive. so that we maybe get into the formal program. I'll start with you, Doc. I'll start with you. Yes. You, so,
So just to add on to what you were saying, um, if we look at how much data each country generates, how much data each country generates, what you find is the amount of data that each country generates corresponds to its GDP. So, for example, the highest GDP in the world is the United States, right? At about 12 trillion dollars, and the amount of data that America generates every year is around 150 zettabytes. Then if that corresponds to the valuation or the GDP of America. And then if you look at the second highest GDP is what? It- Is China. Then China, the amount of data that they generate is sort of classified because they have these platforms which are we don't really know, but it's number two and so on. But if you rank the amount of data that each country generates and its GDP, you will find that it's a one-to-one relationship. Then if we go then to companies which are listed on NASDAQ, New York Stock Exchange, and so on, if we look at how much data that each company generates and its valuation, it's a one-to-one. The biggest company right now is listed on any of the exchanges is which one? Is NVIDIA, right? Then if you look at the amount of data that is generated by NVIDIA, then by Google and so on, and their valuation is a one-to-one mapping. The only anomaly there is SpaceX. The only anomaly there is SpaceX. Then if we come even to Zimbabwe, and we go on to Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, which is the highest, the most valuable entity on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange? No, it's Delta, Prof. It's Delta. Yes, it's Delta. Anyone who's a stockbroker here, the most valuable company in Zimbabwe is what? It's Delta, right? Then followed by Econet. Yes or no? Yes? Yeah, it's Delta. So therefore, if we look at the amount of data that Delta generates, and then Econet and so on, there's a one-to-one mapping in terms of the amount of data that company generates and its valuation. So the new technique in finance now, when you're valuing a company, you don't necessarily have to look at their balance sheet and their performance. You just look at how much data that company generates, and then you can arrive at the valuation of the company. So data is the new oil, as you said. It's actually the new oil. Yeah. So thank you.
thank you. A round of applause to Doc. All right, Madam, do you have a mic? A revolving mic? We have Madam Ruth.
Thank you for the invitation and for this very innovative idea. I just want to support your ideology of forming Ndarama and making sure we own our own data. And this is supported by the Chinese. You know, the Chinese, when you're in China, WhatsApp does not work. And they deliberately blocked it. And they've got their own, which is called WeChat. So that shows how the Chinese realize the importance of maintaining, collecting, and keeping their data as a sovereign asset. Thank you.
Thank you. I was also, you said Chinese data, we are not sure it's classified. That they understand the importance of keeping their own data secret. But yet, there's also this app that is saying you don't have to give your actual number. when you are registering on online platforms, that app will generate a pseudo number, which you can then, instead of giving your actual phone number, because when we are registering on Google, even on Facebook, they ask for phone numbers. But this app is now saying, no, you don't have to put in your actual number. You just put in actual number, then it converts, and then you can submit that number. But us, we just then even give even the number of our children. I've got 4 kids. You give it to Google, and Google can actually replicate you. All right. Thank you, Prof. Okay, Prof. Gary.
Thank you very much. I think the major challenge that we have in Zimbabwe is we have what we call enterprise data and we have what we call private or public data versus enterprise data. So enterprise data is if I'm at Net1, where I'm a director, I'm not allowed to share information, your information as Net1 with another entity. That's enterprise data. But as Zimbabweans, how do you protect information about Zimbabweans when themselves as Zimbabweans are willingly donating their information? You go on Facebook, someone will put the first name, they even put the nickname, they give you all information about themselves. And yet you are saying we want to do data sovereignty where we keep our data within our own country. So I think to say we can protect data as Zimbabweans, I think it's a far-fetched solution because we don't have our own solutions that can work within Zimbabwe. Meaning that we have data centers, yes, but which hardware is in that data center? So if I go to, for example, tier 1 data center, I'll find Huawei equipment and hardware. So even if the data is on those servers, and if I'm doing maintenance, I can collect the data back to what? To China. Because it's our hardware, we do the maintenance, and we have the contract. Yes, you have got the data center. Are we together? Then in data security and risk management, you need at least 3 sites to keep data. So, and they're not supposed to be in same location. So, and if I have if all data centers are in Harare, my company will not allow me to choose data center in Budiriro, another one is Tungwiza. Because if there is a fire hazard, if there is an earthquake or a flood, we're in the same what? Locality. So all that is not put into perspective. Everyone who wants to put a data center is coming back to what? To Harare. And according to good practices, if you are being audited by Ernst & Young or Grant Thornton, they will tell you that your data to be secure, you need 3 sites. And they should be updating each other in milliseconds. So at the end of the day, however, Harare, and the next one is where? I'm supposed to go outside the what? The country. Because there's no when we are doing the investment, we are not collaborating. You look at the biggest data centers that can be, or those who can fund liquid or tier 1, our leading data center. You look at the government data center itself. They are all in what? In Harare. If we look at PowerTel. So those are some of the challenges that I think as those who then operationalize the data protection we do face. Because I would want to satisfy audit needs, which will say I need to do risk management when it comes to information of my servers. But I cannot do risk management when you're all along Samora Machel. And I need to look for another one. So back to Engineer Maposa, our request is to say they had WeChat, that's why they blocked WhatsApp. If we block WhatsApp, what do we have? Nemdiro atneta makuwa. And if we block Facebook, do we have Zimbook? We don't have. So at the end of the day, we are technology consumers and not technology developers. And lastly, to my fellow dog, he talked about numbers and etc. One of the things that brings about success in terms of data is also numbers, like what you've said. But if we are saying we are 11 million in Zimbabwe, if he needs a data set with 15 million, he cannot extrapolate data and create artificial data because he wants pure what? Pure data. But then you look at India, for you to be a president, you need 1 billion votes. So also numbers do help. So if you're a husband and wife and you are giving back to, you are giving us 1 child, it means you only replace the mother or the father. So as we go, as the world evolves, numbers are going to be what critical. In marketing, they talk about the buying power of a country. So as much as we want to promote local innovations and everything. Those in that space, I think other innovators can attest. The market is too small to simply have a local solution, which will be used by only Zimbabweans. I thank you.
So we are not doing justice, huh? In bathing. We need numbers. At least my wife is here. She's hearing. All right, there's a hand there. All right.
Thank you very much for this session. I'm going to speak from a layman's point of view so that I can qualify my contribution. Because if I try and speak as an expert, I might be beaten to the game. The challenge that I'm seeing as Zimbabweans is we might be starting at a very high level than what we actually are. I think our first starting point is a shift to the digital culture. We might have so much complicated technology, but that only is a preserve of very few people. The ordinary and the key decision makers do not have digital culture. Starting from, let me hazard, starting from our central government, if you ask so much at Gmail, permanent secretary at Gmail, director at Gmail, that at Gmail, no server, no anything, no data. So our conversation must not start at the valuation of data and everything when we don't have anything. So I think these sessions are very important in setting a proper digital culture within our public, starting with our public sector. How much are they involved in setting up data systems that enable, that brings efficiency and effectiveness in the delivery of public services and goods? Once government sets the digital culture and framework, everything falls in place. So I think our focus is not only on the technology side of it, but also on the culture and the policy side of it, so that we have central government driving these processes and ensuring that we have a national data framework that helps to develop our economy. So we need to do more in terms of engaging our public sector, both central government and local authorities, in terms of adopting a proper digital culture. Let's not make digitalization voluntary. Let's make it mandatory. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, just one last person, and then we go to the next session. Yeah, digital culture is very important. You know, when I came from India 2015, I was so hyped. I had done a good research on big data analytics. So I wanted to do the same in Zimbabwe, where I was doing evidence-based medicine. And then I went to our hospitals to look for data. Hey, I was shocked. But for your own information, this is 11 years down the line, and we are still same position. No automation of hospitals, no automation of our public offices. You get it? But it's 11 years down the line. Still no data sets. And yeah, now there's AI. We we need to play catch up seriously. All right. Madam, you can make a contribution. I think you are the last, and then we move on to the next session.
Okay, thank you very much, and congratulations to HIT for this important event.
Okay.
So I want to agree with previous speakers about data sovereignty, but I think let's not think about Zimbabwe as a country, because the the volumes, like everybody is saying, are too small. But let's think about it from an AU perspective, because if we start thinking of AU, we're thinking of 1 billion people, right? So we beat China to the game, or we are in the same space with China, with India, and that's the only thing we can do. So this is kind of an appeal to the policymakers to say, when we're talking at AU platforms, let's be thinking in this regard, because to say Namibia or Zambia or Zimbabwe have data sovereignty doesn't mean much, because our volumes will be so small in terms of the data that we own. But when we're talking as AU, it may actually, mean something, and the global world can actually have a feel of what of what it is. And just commenting on somebody who said we are deliberately offering our information, maybe not so deliberately. So if you want to travel to the States or to UK and you're filling in a form, right, you're already leaving a data footprint. So they will ask you, how many children, how many times have you flown, how many whatever. All that is data footprint, right? And all these accounts which we said are at Gmail, they're already sitting on another domain, right? Gmail is Google. So once we have an email which says Gmail, it's already sitting on the domain. So without even us knowing, we're already leaving a data footprint. It's not like people deliberately vanhu havangoisi data noti vari kuda, hakuna munhu anongotaura kuti ini ndinonzi nhingi anti, but they're actually thinking kuti it's smart for me to have my email address, so they'll do it Gmail, but they don't realize actually that they're offering Google all their information, because the moment they say dear daughter, Google picks it, right? So the next time it's saying, you do have a daughter, you do have a son, because they can see it from the data footprint that you are leaving. I'm actually a layman, so this is my understanding. Thank you very much.
And you know what scares me the most is, have you seen that some ministry at something at Gmail? Yeah. Sensitive information of national security going through those servers. You get it? So yeah, we have a lot that we need to do. So thank you so much. So the next session, we're going to move on to.
All right. Let's give Engineer Maposa a beautiful round of applause. I think this was a very important conversation, because we really needed to break the ice with regards to the conversations that are going to be taking place. And I heard someone saying that data is the new gold, and I also heard someone saying that data is the new oil. So if there's one thing that all of us can agree on, is it's a very, very, very important resource. And one thing that I also wanted to comment on was, if you're looking at this conversation that we're having, and us also understanding that is very important. It also feeds onto the strategic pillars that are under the Ministry of ICT and Postal and Communication Services. Because obviously, we cannot talk about cybersecurity and information without data. We cannot talk about digital infrastructure. I heard someone talking about digital infrastructure without data. We cannot talk about digital transformation without data as well. We cannot talk about policy. Someone was talking about policy and regulation and governance. We cannot talk about all those things without data. Now, going back to the issue of digital infrastructure, our next presentation, I'd like to believe, is going to feed into that, as we're going to have a presentation from Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing Digital Services. Let's give the representative from ZCHPC a beautiful round of applause as they come on the stage. I know we can do better. We can do better. I like that.
Thank you. Hello. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Monei Muzarawetu from the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. I think before I start, I would like to say we are answering a lot to some of the concerns that were being brought up in the discussion. We do have a data recovery site that is not in Harare, actually. So I think if you are looking for data center services, we have one in Harare and a recovery site that is out of Harare. So there's a tick there. I'm going to to dwell on our infrastructure, which is actually very key and the backbone for us to achieve the aspect of digital sovereignty. The government of Zimbabwe have done immense in developing infrastructure in regards for us to be capable to build computational power, processing power. We had our first phase of HPC, which was overtaken by the size and growth and of data that is growing and processing power that is required. So the government has invested into a second phase of the HPC, which has built the first phase processing capacity to about 15 times more. We sit currently the fourth biggest center in Africa. So basically, what I have been alluding to is the architecture of your HPC. You have a lot of servers that are connected through your interconnect technology to allow for multiple parallel processing, which builds the massive processing power. And this can help us to do build models, do simulations. All these other institutions we're talking about, the Google, the Facebook, they do have these models and simulations that they then run on the data to analyze it and then build concepts, make better decisions, see how to lure more clients to their platforms, check for your likes and interests so that they know how they can then attract new clients and those that are already on board. So this processing power is enabled and is currently the infrastructure that we actually have, which is a good backbone for us to achieve the data sovereignty that we need in this regard. So, like I alluded to, our first phase was a bit small in processing power and storage, but our second phase has brought us to a level where we are able to undertake a research, development, AI, cloud computing services, offer training platforms. These are services that are actually currently running at the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing. We do have engagements with the public, private players. We are in collaboration. They're actually housing some of their products at ZCHPC. We do have collaborations with Ministry of Health, where we are actually housing Impilo. And we have other projects that we are actually working together on to grow. We have weather on board, we have the ZRP on board, digitization of your fingerprints and all that. These are some of the products that we are actually pursuing, but there could be more we could do. And we are happy when we hear of digital sovereignty, AI coming on board. So we need, this is a very good platform, such that if we want to achieve digital sovereignty, we need to utilize this infrastructure. The infrastructure is there, which is the backbone for us to be able to build the sovereignty. So the center is actually very open to engagement, collaboration, partnerships in digital services, be it storage, be it your cloud computing, AI, research. We are actually in collaboration with other universities. the center offers virtual services like virtual laboratories, other research institutions and universities. You know now, chemicals for our laboratories are a huge cost. Some schools in our rural setups don't have science laboratories, but this platform allows them to have a virtual laboratory where they can carry out all these tests that are required in their curriculum, be it in tertiary, be it in primary school, be it in secondary school. So this is infrastructure that is allowing for us to grow digitally and for us to share growth and grow together. I think I've mentioned a lot. Those are some of the services, your RDI, your cloud hosting, critical skills development. We're actually offering training courses, certification training courses in AI, data analytics, cybersecurity, cloud computing, robotics, and coding. Consultant services are also on board, where we are working with various government institutions to offer bid solution development, cybersecurity analytics, and a whole lot more. So our services, our clients and our projects are some of those that you have there. I mentioned Impilo. I also mentioned Z-Therapy. I also mentioned the MET, where we are doing weather forecasting. But it's not only limited to this. Please, let's understand this. Our center is actually underutilized because the capacity and the infrastructure is there. We actually offer cloud services where you can actually connect and enjoy the high processing capability of the HPC from your institution there, where you run your models. We create a, a server for your modeling, for your simulations, be it in genomics, be it in precision agriculture, mining exploration. All this can be achieved through our center and infrastructure. Then our plans in regards of AI development, this year we've already built in AI hub at the center, and we are also in collaboration with other institutions like so, which are also doing their research and projects. Excuse me, which are also doing their research and projects through our AI hub. So we can actually virtualize and create various other virtual hubs that can utilize the capacity and research in AI. We also want to develop um, this idea and concept into an AI center of excellence, which would then grow into a village where we have our own data sets from our own background and cultural growth and aspects. This would then create large language models like you have with your other platforms, Google, Facebook, and all. Then we grow to their physical quantum computers, which are actually have then that massive uh, capability to develop in science, technology, and bit. Excuse me. I think there's a lot to say, and we are very quite open to more. But my time, the timekeeper, it is not allowing me. So I will end here. But for further engagements, we are at UZ campus in Mount Pleasant, and we are very open to towing, if you want to see the capacity and infrastructure that we actually house here in Zimbabwe, we are open. You get in touch. If you can move to the last slide, please. I think it's not coming out nicely. We are open to anyone coming in and seeing our services and infrastructure that we actually have on board. I think.
A beautiful round of applause for Mr. Munesu Muzara Mweto. So before you take a seat, I maybe we can just take one or two questions before we move on to the next speaker. Two questions, two burning questions from the audience. Going once. Anyone with a burning question? Okay.
Thank you so much. Mine is just a quick one, trying to understand in terms of the capacity and the usage. We are in a continuous drive and advocacy for data centers in Zimbabwe. I know the HPC, as you've already said, has been launched a couple of years ago, and now we are also improving and increasing capacity in the HPC. What is the real desire and the hunger of the data, and how much in terms of percentage of utilization have we already put into the HPC? It's one of the major resources that we've had for years. How much have we utilized this HPC? If you are maybe to give us statistics in terms of usage, how much has that been taken to use? Because we know we have always had and read of stories of more demand to build more data centers in Zimbabwe, and we thought that that is one of the infrastructure we're supposed to be using. And more importantly, what services are you offering at that data center? Is it system as a service, hardware as a service? Is it software as a service? Exactly what are you really delivering in terms of the HPC? Thank you.
I thank you. Services, I think we have mentioned that we are offering all those you have mentioned, platform as a service, systems as a service, the HPC itself as a service. The capacity utilization, I would say HPC is underutilized because we are only utilizing, if I'm correct, about 30% to 40% of the capacity that it actually has. So, in terms of taking on board other clients for be it data recovery sites, cloud computing, research, modeling and simulation research, all that, the space and capacity for it to hold that is actually there. I think this is a good platform for us to also go out there and showcase our capacity and capability as an institution that has been developed by the government of Zimbabwe. The first phase went premature because data grew and resources were smaller. But the government of Zimbabwe has actually been very keen to grow its capacity and has invested in a second phase of the HPC, which is 15 times bigger than the first phase. And upon that, we've taken a couple of clients like the Ministry of Health, which is actually a big consumer in the 30% that we're actually utilizing of the services at HPC. Thank you.
All right, a beautiful round of applause for Mr. Munesu Muzara Mweto.
Sorry, my board member, Engineer Mberi, is here and you'd like to add something more.
No worries, no worries.
Thank you very much. I chair the commercialization committee of the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing and would like to open up commercialization of this national asset. What is differentiating about this national supercomputer is that we would like to bring in public data integration onto this platform and integrate it as well to private sector and social data on the same platform so that we get national dashboards that are to enable national planning that are then to link with our regional and global counterparts. I think that's a very differentiating aspect and utilization of the HPC. Thank you.
Yes, a beautiful round of applause. I see there's a contribution.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to see Engineer Berry again. I'm the one who actually implemented the Impilo platform on the HPC. So the biggest challenge with adoption, because I know, and I like Tonio. Tonio likes to ask quizzing questions. That's his nature. The biggest challenge we have in terms of adoption is the talent. Our universities are teaching coding on for CPUs, right? They're not teaching coding for distributed systems and hyperscale infrastructure. So the challenge is when it comes to adoption, Tonio, is the talent gap that is required for the implementation. There are so many projects that can be done. The issue is the talent to be able to, because implementing on HPC infrastructure is different from implementing on a single server, right? Or even on 3 servers and so on. So distributed infrastructure requires a very niche skill set to be able to implement on that particular infrastructure. So this is where the huge gap is. So therefore, we are then appealing to universities to come and learn on the HPC infrastructure, then so that the students are become the future talent to be able to implement on that infrastructure. I believe Engineer Kasirori is here. If he can stand up. So he was also part of the HPC when it started. So we've been trying, and that program was then cut off of developing the talent to be able then to utilize the infrastructure so that we increase the adoption. If we can do that, then adoption will increase to even because the infrastructure that we have right now is not even sufficient, even though it's underutilized. The challenge that you find is at a corporate level, they don't have the talent to implement. So therefore, where do you then get the talent to then implement it on the HPC? So this is where the gap is. So if we can develop the talent, then the issues of utilization will be resolved. Thank you.
All right. One last beautiful round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. I think before we came to this, there were so many thought-provoking points and discussion points rather that were raised by some of the speakers. And one speaker particularly spoke about the importance of making sure that we have the digital infrastructure to be able to be part of the digital ecosystem that is taking place around the world. Now, with that being said, Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing is coming as a solution with the data centers and the recovery center that they have, which I believe is a testimony for what is happening around this country of Zimbabwe. Because our next presentation, again, we're going to hear about data centers. Please allow me to welcome Mr. Leroy Honte of Tel One Data Center Service. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause as he's coming on the stage. Mr. Leroy Honte. Okay. I'd like to believe that he is in absentia, but it doesn't stop the program. I think we can still continue with the conversations that are taking place. One thing that I also took note of with regards to some of the speakers that were speaking, there was somebody who spoke about the importance of developing a culture towards digital sovereignty. And I think it's very pivotal because it's now speaking to us as Zimbabweans. Because if we're looking at the people that are on the stepping stone or that are riding bandwagon of artificial intelligence and everything that is related to data, these are more likely like first world countries. But us as a third world country, we would also want to make sure that we are part of this ecosystem that is taking place, which I'd like to believe that is going to contribute significantly to all those that have different organizations, whether they're in the private sector or whether they are in the public sector. But as the two speakers I had from the previous speaker was talking about the data centers, I'd like to believe that we can still continue the conversation with regards to that. Not really starting a panel discussion, but I believe my brother, Mr. Martin Mudua, maybe you might have some contribution, something that you would like to add on to the issues with regards to infrastructure and digitalization and everything that is taking place in the environment. Sorry for putting you on the spot. Ndimi wandaderera. Maona zvakashatira ukama. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause.
Thank you so much. You actually caught me off guard because I was not expecting you to spot me. But issues to do with infrastructure have been flagged not only on today's conversations. Dr. Pani always said that we were the first, and that's where I learned that we are the first nation to have a supercomputer in Africa. But in terms of supercomputing capabilities, we are now around 5, 6, 7 in Africa. We are on number 4. So it shows how we have lagged behind. We were the leaders, but already we are being pushed away. While we speak of usage, we speak of capabilities in terms of the computational efficiency and power that we have. I also want to throw blame on the capacity utilization, that we are not using the computing power that we have. That's why Tonio was then saying that. So why, if there is no demand of that nature, why then are we prompted to upscale in terms of infrastructure when there is no such demand? So it goes back to the consumers of the supercomputing infrastructure that we have. If I refer the House to the AI readiness assessment methodology for Zimbabwe conducted last year, under the strengths, it's flagged that we have a strength in terms of computing power. It remains a strength, colleagues. Why? Because we are not using it. If we have a bus that can carry 30 people and we have 200 people that are preferring to walk when the bus is there, then where is the problem? Is it that the bus cannot carry 200 people, or that 200 people are not opting to use the bus for transportation? So the infrastructure is limited. It's there. It remains a strength because it's a key flagship initiative that we have. It has since been democratized following the AI readiness assessment methodology and the AI strategy itself burdens the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing to oversee the effectiveness of pillar number 2 of the strategy, infrastructure and computational sovereignty. We do look forward that the ZCHPC is going to drive that pillar in terms of the infrastructure. But it goes back to us again in terms of pillar number 1 with respect to the skills that we have, like what the colleagues have earlier on noted, that we have the skills. Why are we not using it? Is it that it's not serving purpose, or we don't have the skills to utilize it? So it's a whole ecosystem, it's a value chain process that we must look into to ensure that the infrastructure, the sovereignty that we desire, and the current capabilities are converted to reality so that the strengths drive the initiatives that we want to achieve. I thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution, Mr. Martin. But I'd like to believe there's a bit of a contradiction because you're mentioning that we said that we do have the skills, and Dr. Panashe also mentioned that we have a huge talent gap. So obviously, we would like to know which is which first. And secondly, maybe the other thing that I believe as an individual, because I'm also a young man who's also growing into this whole buzz of artificial intelligence and everything that is happening around. I'm a firm believer of talent going where it is recognized. So with the few resources that we have, if I am well equipped to be digitally literate, uh, would I want to stick around in Zimbabwe so that I can serve the bigger vision of digital sovereignty? I think I'll give that question to Dr. Panache. Then possibly you can give your contribution as well.
The question is sticking around. Why would you stick around?
Yes, why would I stick around?
Oh, okay. I'll give you an example. So, I I w- I I was I worked for the IMF in it was as a consultant in 2016 around April there for about 6 months. I was I was in Moldova, in Chisinau and Moscow. And then I was working with the Minister of Finance in Moscow. I was in the, and then he came down and then he looked at me and he like, all this work you're doing, why are you here? And like, what do you mean, why am I here? Why are you here? And I said, I'm here to, but if we look at what your country is going through, don't you think you are better placed to be fixing those issues in your country instead of coming all the way to Moscow, advising questions on financial issues? Why are you here? And it hit me. You are only respected as much as the level of development of where you're coming from.
Hmm.
You are only respected as much as the level of development where you are coming from. Even some of us who worked in the United Kingdom and so on, in the end, no matter how much you excel, they'll always ask you the question, where are you really from? Say, no, I'm working. No. Where are you really from? You are only respected as much as the level of development of where you're coming from. So therefore, we need to develop a Zimbabwe so that when you're now out there, the issue is not only about where you're coming from. The issue is you're now on a platform where people don't consider that as an issue, because that will always come up. Ask anyone who's worked for the top enterprises in the world. That issue will always come up. Where are you from? Right? But they don't ask that to Americans, do they? No, they don't. But if you're African, they'll always ask, where are you from? Even just across the border. This is why they have issues, right? With Makwere queries. Right? That issue will always come up. No matter how much you excel, where are you from? So we have to develop where we are from so that everybody ignores where we come from, so that they look at the talent only. Thank you.
Yes, I see you've made the audience a bit feisty because they want to contribute and ask questions to this very important conversation. I'll start with you, sir.
I think I would want to ask you why you would leave your country to the other country. Yeah. I,
Well, I've got so many responses.
yeah. I was going to identify one of them is monetary value. Kutsvaka mari handiti kurarama handiti ka. Another reason could be kuendera ikoko kuda kundo-explore your talent.
Yeah.
There could be other reasons which I wanted you to share. But
Yeah.
given just those two, ekuti uri kutsvaga mari kunze, uri kuda kundo-explore your gifts and talent there. What we are now doing for Harare Center for High Performance Computing is to create that atmosphere, commercialization, where we will allow you to integrate the industry, state entities, pasina bureaucracy, and where you can network with others and then explode your talent. You shine your national asset, the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing, and make money. We want you to make money there. That's why we have set it aside as a commercial entity. It's not bureaucracy. That's
Okay.
what is coming through.
Okay.
Yeah, every Zimbabwean is called to come and utilize this in that sense. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Also, looking at, as I'm coming to you as well, I believe that Zimbabwe, in so many instances, if we're just looking inside, it might be a small market when it comes to anything that has to do with commercialization as compared to other economies. But I believe, it's just standing with what you have said, I believe that with the opportunities that you're providing, you're also providing for us to make sure that we also participate in the global village, which is open for everybody. I'll move to you, sir.
Okay, so I'm Engineer Katsat. So I've had the privilege to work for different industries here in Zimbabwe and abroad. So right now I'm the current Chief Operations Officer for PaySapay at Codevators. So I am a payment gateway, but half the time when I'm trying to innovate, I'm a young innovator, and trust me, I'm very innovative. You then realize that we don't have access to data. I would really want to have my payment gateway zero rated, but to get that API or to be zero rated at least, it requires a hefty fee that I have to pay on the other end. In the technology itself is so much gated that I cannot be able to do that.
Okay.
So as a payment gateway, I would want to make sure that there is financial inclusion. Anyone without data should be able to pay via my payment gateway. But you know what? It's so costly to do that. Then number two, I would say that there are so many innovations that I've witnessed here. Also been privileged to be part of a team that won a hackathon by Harvard. And
Yeah.
we're supposed to have flown to Harvard, but it's just that there was the World Cup, so there were travel restrictions. But you didn't realize that we have a quite a big innovation that we have that is to address what we call consent data or consent management. You realize that half the time my data is being used by one organization or the other without my consent. So we had built an AI layer such that when such happens, I need to authenticate or otherwise authorize the transmission of such data. So I would say again, maybe if we could be backed by Potras or any other technology company, we could be able to see so much innovations. And I'll tell you that even on the hackathon itself, you'd realize that Zimbabwean teams were quite strong, even on regional level, even international. So also we are appealing maybe to the government and universities so that we can have sandboxing environments where we can have our young graduates or tech innovators to be able to hack around with their solutions so that at least we can see the capacity that we already have within this country. I'll tell you that half of the engineers possibly in here, who are as young as I am, they are possibly working for international companies. Microsoft, you'll be surprised. Google, you also be surprised. So we have so much talent actually in this country, but I suppose we are growing bigger on research rather than implementation. Thank you.
Wow, a beautiful round of applause. A beautiful round of applause. Is there anyone who would like to add on to this? If there's anybody who would want to add on to this, because I think if I heard the biggest pain point, you are saying that we are skilled, but to innovate, it's costly. There's a high cost to innovation around the country. So I'd like to believe that we have so many people that have different solutions, different ideas, who would also want to contribute and give maybe a different perspective with regards to what you have said.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tashinga Henry, and I would like to go with what my brother said. We have a lot of skill within Zimbabwe, especially among young people. A lot of skill. There's people who are thinking of solutions that are outside the box. But the main question is, are we creating an environment that nurtures and incentivizes that skill? From my own understanding, Zimbabwe, especially without knowing the right people, it incentivizes who you know rather than what you can do. So I think, just in support of what he said, we need to create an environment that incentivizes that particular skill. You can see someone from Heat, for example, or Nust. They have a solution that they have outside the box and it works. So let's support them when they implement it, and the market itself needs to incentivize skill. I thank you.
Yes, that's I'm still going to go back to my, yes, I have a hand, to my professional speakers as well. with regards to this? Are we creating the environment to incentivize that talent?
Thank you very much. Just to respond to what my colleague here earlier on said, as the ZCHPC, we actually have this platform to nurture and promote innovation. Sandboxing facilities are there at the center. Innovation can actually be carried out, but it comes to the aspect of our data and service, public and private players who are coming to utilize the service, so that we can have then the data to be able to simulate on and do models on, are still not that much. And in regards to data protection, like you said, we are actually in a partnership with Potras and HITS. We protect the data that we house at the institution in accordance with the cyber and data protection laws of the land. So we are actually in alignment in regards to that, uh, how we store data, how we share, how we then destroy the data and things like that. So all those we are doing in alignment with the laws of the country, guided by POTRAS as the regulator in regards to data protection. I thank you.
Yes, a beautiful round of applause. I think we would also have needed to have someone from Portras to contribute to this conversation, particularly on the policing and regulation, because like the gentleman right there said, it's not just about the monetary effect, but the cost of actually getting things approved and all of that. I think it's very important. It would add to the solutions that we need as young people. Do we have any more contributions that would like to add on to the conversation? Um, going once, those that would like to add on to the conversation. Going once, going twice.
Thank you very much. My name is Blissful Mamombe. So it happened that I also lead I'm actually a director of one of the leading research institutes here in Zimbabwe. So this question is directly to ZCHPC and also to contribute directly to the discussion. The major challenge that I've discovered is the cost associated in using the HPC. But the moment you start talking about commercialization and so forth, it means there's a cost which is attached to utilizing this infrastructure. In terms of having the skills and so forth, we do have the skills here in Zimbabwe. I've seen a lot of young ones who have the skills. Taking for example, we are in the era of artificial intelligence, and here in Zimbabwe, we are saying we don't have our own large language model that we have here that we can talk about. We talk about the chat GPTs, we talk about the deep six and so forth, but we don't have our own. But it's not that we don't have the skill as Zimbabweans to train our own model, our LLMs, but the costs associated in using this infrastructure. For example, for you to train a model, you need a high-powered computing power, which is the HPC. I think that's the only machine that we have here in Zimbabwe. But now the cost associated to it is the challenge. I think maybe this is something that probably you need to take into account as an institution or something that can be discussed as a nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's a very important question. Um, and let me say, for some of these services to run, there's a give and take. HP allows you to offer quality data analytics for both public and private sector. It enables us to carry out research, development, and innovation. And I must say, the president of the country is actually running a program whereby he is encouraging innovators to develop their innovative solutions through utilizing the HPC and actually rewarding them at the end of it. We have a couple of projects that have actually been rewarded and given funding for expansion. So for innovation, I think maybe it's a lack of collaboration and engagement. But if we engage more, we are sitting down with, we are working with research institutions, we are working with tertiary institutions to collaborate and get them to connect virtually to the HPC and utilize this processing power and utilize the storage. But I must say, it then, we must all agree, it can't then all go it it for free. There has to be a nominal fee that has then to be taken into consider, because we also have third party service providers which give us internet services and all those other requirements that we require from them, which we have to take care of, to ensure that the services are up and running 24/7, 365. So it's a nominal cost, and it also depends on the kind of research you are doing. Some of this research is very beneficial to the government, and these can be projects that can be then funded by the government if the innovation is talking to disaster management, things that the government is already incurring huge costs when a disaster happens. So if you are going to do your simulation on a forecasting a disaster, then the government is in a better position to manage and know that we are prone to a disaster before it happens. So engagements can be done further in regards to all those other aspects. I thank you.
Please allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Minister of Information, Communication Technology, Post and Courier Services in Zimbabwe, Honorable Minister Tatenda Mavetera, and the delegation. Let's give them a beautiful round of applause. Just a quick recap of some of the activities that has happened in the morning. We started with a presentation from Engineer Maposa, who was giving an overview of Ndarama Technology seminar and what's about to happen in the future. And we also had another presentation from Mr. Munesu Muzaraweto from Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing, who was talking about some of the services that they offer with regards to their organization. Now, at this moment in time, please allow me to welcome Professor Engineer Kanukangwe, who is the Vice Chancellor of the Harare Institute of Technology, to give the official welcome remarks for the event. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause.
Thank you, Facilitator, Director of Ceremonies, Honorable Minister of Information, Communications, Technologies, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Mavetera. Let me also recognize our Honorable Commissioner, here present, Dr. Engineer Martin Mudua, members of the diplomatic community who may be here, who have been invited. Let me also acknowledge Chairman of the Harare Institute of Technology Board, Dr. Grace Taruinga, here present, Pro-Vice Chancellors of Harare Institute of Technology, Professor Gwamuri, Research, Innovation and Commercialization, Mr. Gwarimbo, Pro-Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Captains of Industry. I also recognize Dr. Kalon Garkai, former Pro-Vice Chancellor of HIT, and now Deputy Vice Chancellor, Africa University. Our valued partners from Ndarama Technologies, the CEO of Ndarama Technologies is here, Engineer Maposa. I also recognize you. Distinguished panelists, academics, researchers, students, comrades, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to you all. Just a little bit afternoon. Good afternoon. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, Honorable Minister, to HIT and all of you to Harare Institute of Technology for this important national seminar on digital sovereignty, building the foundation for Zimbabwe's artificial intelligence future being the theme of this seminar. Your presence here demonstrates our collective commitment to building a Zimbabwe that is not merely adapting to the fourth industrial revolution, but actively contributing to it, as well as shaping our own landscape through innovation, research, and technological entrepreneurship. Today is particularly significant because we are celebrating a milestone that embodies the mandate of the Harare Institute of Technology. The works of Ndarama Technologies, a startup that successfully underwent incubation in this HIT Innovation Hub. This is the graduation of an idea into an enterprise, of research into innovation, and of innovation into commercial value. Ndarama Technologies is living proof that when universities, industry, and government work together, Zimbabwean talent can create world-class technology companies. It demonstrates that innovation incubation is not an academic exercise, but a pathway to economic transformation, industrial competitiveness, and job creation. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, the theme before us, digital sovereignty, could not be more timely. Digital sovereignty is Zimbabwe's ability to develop, own, govern, and secure its digital infrastructure, digital platforms, data, artificial intelligence systems, and intellectual property in ways that advance our national interests. It means ensuring that the technologies powering our economy are not merely imported, but increasingly conceived, designed, developed, secured, and commercialized by Zimbabweans through to His Excellency's mantra that Nyika inowakwanewenewai. In the age of artificial intelligence, data has become a strategic national asset. Nations that control their data, digital infrastructure, and AI capabilities will shape their economic destiny. Those that do not risk becoming perpetual consumers of technologies developed elsewhere, exporting raw data while importing costly digital solutions. For Zimbabwe, digital sovereignty is therefore not merely a technological issue. It is an economic development imperative, a national security priority, and a foundation for sustainable industrialization. A digitally sovereign Zimbabwe can build secure digital public infrastructure that protects citizens and national institutions, develop indigenous artificial intelligence solutions tailored to our agriculture, mining, health, education, and manufacturing sectors, commercialize locally generated intellectual property, create high value technology industries, and export digital services, as well as retain more value within our economy while creating quality employment for our young people. These aspirations align directly with Vision 2030, which seeks to transform Zimbabwe into an upper middle income, industrialized, and modern economy. This precisely, this is precisely where Harare Institute of Technology positions itself. As Zimbabwe's premier technological university, HIT is committed to producing technologies that solve national challenges, creating globally competitive graduates, commercializing research outputs, supporting innovation-driven enterprises, and strengthening partnerships that accelerate industrial development. Today's celebration of Ndarama Technologies is evidence that this model works. However, one successful startup should not be the exception. It should become the standard. Across our innovation hub are brilliant young innovators developing solutions in artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, robotics, biotechnology, renewable energy, advanced manufacturing, and digital finance. Their success depends on an ecosystem where industry becomes an active partner rather than a passive observer. This seminar, therefore, is not a standalone event. It is one of the flagship outcomes of our Technovation Expo 2026, which has been held under the theme Designing an Assured Future. Over these 3 days, the expo showcases research outputs, artificial intelligence masterclasses, coding competitions, business plan competitions, digital agriculture, financial engineering, careers development, intellectual property clinics, and technology exhibitions, all designed to strengthen Zimbabwe's innovation ecosystem and accelerate technology transfer and commercialization. One message, Honorable Minister, that has emerged consistently from every symposium, exhibition, and panel discussion here is that innovation alone is not enough. The true measure of innovation is its ability to create industries, transform communities, generate employment, and contribute to national prosperity. The graduation of Ndarama Technologies demonstrates its ability to do precisely that. That is ensuring that innovation impacts society. Innovation creates jobs. Innovation generates industries. We are no longer celebrating prototypes alone. We are celebrating the emergence of commercially viable technology enterprises capable of competing in the marketplace. This is precisely the journey that was and continues to be envisioned under the heritage-based education 5.0. Research becomes innovation, innovation becomes intellectual property becomes commercial products and services. Commercialization thus must create enterprises, generate jobs, exports, and therefore national wealth. That is the value chain that will transform Zimbabwe. Discussions we've been having during this expo, from agentic artificial intelligence to digital agriculture, financial engineering, engineering excellence, and digital sovereignty, are not isolated conversations. They are building blocks of the same national vision, a knowledge-driven, innovation-led economy where Zimbabwe develops technologies for Zimbabwe, Africa, and the world. For HIT, the desired outcomes of this expo are clear. More university industry partnerships, more technologies licensed and commercialized, more startups graduating into successful businesses, more investment flowing into innovation and research, more patents becoming products, more young Zimbabweans creating companies instead of only seeking employment, more Zimbabwean digital solutions solving Zimbabwean problems. These are not merely institutional aspirations, they are national imperatives. It is therefore for this reason, Honorable Minister, that we also call upon industry to move beyond sponsorship and become co-creators of Zimbabwe's innovation economy. The next Ndarama Technologies is already within our innovation hub. The next transformative AI company, cybersecurity enterprise, or digital manufacturing startup is already being developed by our students and researchers. What is required now is strategic investment, market access, and enduring partnerships. Together, let us ensure that the legacy of the Technovation Expo is not measured by the number of exhibits we displayed, but the number of technologies that we commercialize, the companies that we create, the industries we transform, and the contribution we make towards an industrialized, modernized, and digitally sovereign Zimbabwe. I therefore extend a sincere invitation to Zimbabwe's corporate sector. Partner with HIT through investing in innovation, sponsoring technology incubation, providing market opportunities for emerging enterprises, co-develop technologies with our researchers, support venture creation and technology transfer. When industry invests in university innovation, it is not donating. It is making a strategic investment in Zimbabwe's future competitiveness. To our government partners, we remain grateful for policies that continue to strengthen innovation, industrialization, and digital transformation. Together, academia, government, and industry can build an ecosystem that positions Zimbabwe as a regional leader in artificial intelligence, digital technologies, and knowledge-based industries. Allow me to congratulate Engineer Tertiary Maposa and the entire Ndarama Technologies team. Your journey from incubation to commercial enterprise is an inspiration to every young innovator in Zimbabwe. We are proud that your story began at the Harare Institute of Technology, and we look forward to seeing your continued growth as a technology company contributing to national development. Before I conclude, I also want to acknowledge and recognize the Honorable Deputy Minister who walked in whilst I was in the middle of my speech. You are most welcome to HIT, Honorable Deputy Minister. I want to thank you and wish you well in your deliberations. Thank you very much.
Research begets intellectual property. Intellectual property begets commercial enterprises, just like Ndarama Technologies, which I believe is a process that needs the complement of the government, of the private sector, and as of education as well, just like Professor Engineer Kanukamwe had mentioned. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause. Now, at this moment in time, please allow me to welcome, the visionary, the individual that brought us together for this particular event, which I believe he has so many things that he would want to share with regards to Ndarama Technologies. That is their journey. Academic qualifications in BSc Computer Science, NAST, Zimbabwe, and MTech Software Engineering, DTU, India, and currently pursuing a Doctorate of Business Administration, DBA in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning at Walsh College, USA. Tertiary combines technical expertise with strategic leadership to build scalable impactful digital solutions. His work spans enterprise resource planning systems, e-government platforms, artificial intelligence, fintech, smart infrastructure, and digital innovation. A strong advocate of data sovereignty, innovation, and homegrown technology, Tertiary actively collaborates with government institutions, academia, and industry to advance digital transformation and strengthen Africa's technology ecosystem. His vision is to position Zimbabwe as a leading producer of world-class technology solutions while empowering communities through innovation, entrepreneurship, and sustainable digital development. Ladies and gentlemen, let's show some love to Engineer Tertiary Maposa as he comes on the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for accepting our invitation, our humble invitation. So before I start, allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister. We are so humbled that you are here. I know you are a busy woman. Thank you so much. We don't take this lightly. And also thank you to Deputy Minister for also gracing our occasion. I would like also to acknowledge the presence of a man I call my mentor, Engineer Kanukamwe. Thank you so much. And allow me to say all protocols observed. I think we are a bit behind time. So allow me to take this opportunity to demystify and explain what Ndarama Technologies is. I know a lot of people know and they recognize Large Africa. So they are a bit confused. What's Ndarama? Is it a rebranding of Large Africa or what? So allow me to take you through the journey of Ndarama, of which some of the things that are there are a bit personal, but I think it will give us a better vision and picture of where Ndarama all came from. So I joined HIT 2012. I'm a graduate from NAST, where Professor Kanukamwe was once a lecturer. So I joined HIT 2012. I was very young. I was just 27 by then. With just I think 4 years experience, and I was coming from industry. And then fortunately, there was a staff development program which Engineer Kanukamwe engineered for us to go to India, where I did my master's in software engineering at DTU, which is a very good university, one of the best, the 8th ranked in India. I finished in 2015, came back with a lot of ideas and a lot of vigor, and wanted to do the same projects that we're doing in India, in Zimbabwe. And then the red ones, I'll explain later. 2017, that's when we started the project, LADS, and it was under, we're funded by an NGO, COGF. The country director is here, and the finance director is here. So those are the guys who were instrumental in the establishment of LADS because they funded us in the initial stages. And then 2018, something very personal happened, which I will share later. In fact, I got an offer to go to Australia. My vice chancellor knows about it, and Dr. Gary. But we're just starting, lads, and I was caught in between going abroad, where I was going to get a permanent residence with my family, and a very high-paying job. And here we're starting, lads, and there was so much uncertainty to the future. Doc Gary, Engineer Kanukangwe, even Mr. Boroma, the country director for COGF, they played a big role. I will explain later. And then we're doing labs and things were shaping up. And then Education 5.0 was picking momentum. And then we established an entity called LADS Africa. LADS is an acronym which stands for Local Authority Digital Systems. So the mandate there was to focus on local authorities and automate local authorities. I think we know what happens in our local authorities. So we're trying to sanitize and to automate and do. And the mantra is towards smart cities for LADS Africa. So we're targeting that. And then from 2021 to 2025, we moved, we gained a lot of ground. And I'm proud to say that at this moment, in LADS, we are in 83 local authorities out of 92, which is 90%. And our ERP has been certified by Ernst and Young. Ernst and Young guys are here. They did a marvelous job. So our ERP is internationally recognized, and we were also getting some interest beyond the borders within LADS. And our footprint then overlapped into non-local authorities. That's when we started doing projects for MMCZ, Powertel, Wange Property Company, ZIB. I'm pretty sure they are going to give testimonials on the work that we've done. So we felt that we were now a bit distracted. The last mandate was now being overshadowed. So we said, no, now let's create a separate entity that focuses solely on anything that is not local authorities. So that's how we birthed Ndarama. And it's a Shona word for gold. As we all know that data is the new oil, but we call it the new gold. So that's the vision. The vision is to be a leading technology partner in fostering Africa's digital sovereignty. We want to own our narrative. We want to own our platforms. You get it? Because I believe the next colonization will be digital colonization. If you Google and if you look online, the most powerful men are technologists. The most powerful, the richest person, the first trillionaire, Elon Musk, controls technology. Bill Gates has been on top for years. Jeff Bezos, the Larry Page from Google, Mark Zuckerberg, they are the ones that are somehow controlling our narrative. So the Ndarama team is very young. The average age is 26, 27. I'm actually the oldest in Ndarama. So where I'm the head, and we have got brilliant minds. We have our CTO, who happened to be my student at HIT, and we also have our business development manager, who also is a student from HIT. And it's unfortunate, a lot of young, brilliant minds. Most of them are from HIT, but we are also including others from other universities. And we're also, pushing the STEM lady. I can see the STEM ladies here. We have got ladies in STEM. We have got ladies that code and ladies that also support our systems. And then we have a powerful board under Ndarama. With a lot of experience, a lot of hands-on experience, and they are practical. Where our board chair is Professor Dr. Garikai. He's a man who doesn't need introduction. He's done quite a lot. And we have got, we are gender sensitive. Our vice board chair is Dean for School of Sciences and Technology here at HIT. And we've got our board secretary who's with us today, Madam Munjoma. And we have got a finance board chair, which is our finance director at HIT. We also, Honorable Minister, we have one of you on our board, Engineer Jukwa, the head of AI under ministry. We also, myself as the chair for the executive committee. We also have my mentor, Professor Engineer, making part of the board, and our Pro Vice Chancellor for Research Innovation, Professor Guamuri, and Head of Innovation under RBZ, Engineer Mtambirwa, who was also at TEL1. We also have a board member from Zimra, Mr. Tafadzwa Ambawa, who happened to be my senior at school as well, at high school. And lastly, we have Miss Masunda, an expert in technopreneurship, making the board. So we are very serious in what we do. So we cannot fail with such a board behind us. So thank you. Allow me to briefly talk about the projects that we have done under Ndarama. So these we're doing, of course, under as LAS, but we had an arm within LAS, but we said let's now separate the two entities. So the one of my favorite projects is MMCZ, Minerals Marketing Corporation. I think the IT manager will present on what we have done. So we replaced, Honorable Minister, we replaced SAP, which is a German-based ERP at MMCZ. And the MMCZ saved a tune of $2 million in engaging us. So we are doing import substitution. And there were areas which SAP could not automate, especially the marketing part. The minerals marketing part is very complicated. So there was need for us to actually do a customization from scratch. And yeah, it gave us a lot of headache. But the system went live on the 1st of January 2024. And Vice Chancellor said, we cannot, he said in Shona actually, I think page calf chatisingajki. Let us, we don't save a dish that we don't eat. So at HIT, we then implemented a billing system, student management, and a financial management system. Here, we replaced what we're using. And HIT, when your student is built in Ndarama. The receipting that happens is happening in Ndarama. The financial management, the asset management, the procurement is happening in Ndarama. Hallelujah. Thank you. And then we have got Zimren, Zimbabwe Research Institution. We are implementing there. We have PowerTel. We have Wange Property Company. We have people who have flown from Wange to make a testimonial. We also have ZIB. We customize the system. We call it Nexus. And we have got quite a number of ministry government projects. We have done the Ministry of Mines, the export permit management system. Honorable Minister, the permit, I was hurt to see the permit. It was just a bond paper with stamps and a number of signatures. So people were actually, were losing a lot of minerals through that permit because it's just a paper. And each permit has to have a threshold of a tonnage. If you are exporting 1,000 tons of, let's say, platinum, you get it, you have to then deduct every time you cross the border. But there was no mechanism for that. You get it? And a permit would also expire. You get it? A permit expires, there's a time frame for a permit. There was no way of tracking that. So we've automated the application, the approval, and the tracking, and we've integrated with the MMCZ system. Yes, so it's yet to be launched to go live, but it's working in the preliminaries. We have also done the minimum service delivery standards, where your councils can they are rated, they are performance of councils, where His Excellence launched the call to action, no compromise to service delivery. So we launched a dashboard, and also the same with the citizen engagement, which was launched by His Excellence sometime last month. And then we've got ongoing projects, the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education, where we're going to automate all the schools, the government schools and the council schools in Zimbabwe through our system we call Iskolo. And we've got a Ministry of Tourism. Tour operators, they have to pay the 2% ZTA levy. If you have seen on your receipt after you buy chicken in, there is VAT and there's fast food tax and there's also ZTA levy. People are not remitting to the Ministry of Tourism. They remit what they want because there's no way of tracking. So we are in the process of automating. It's just a fiscalization project. Once you buy your chicken in, ministry will know that there is a $2 that is supposed to come from chicken in first as a remittance. And then we have the citizen engagement. Was the president loved it so much, and he said we want to expand it to the whole of government. So we're working on that as well. We have my brick project. We are working with Zimra. We also have a microland project, which is a microfinance loan management. We don't have our own in Zimbabwe. Microfinance organizations are buying from abroad, and credit scoring is a big issue. So we want to also occupy that space. So, okay, our products, we have an ERP, we have Iskolo, we have Musiangwa, which the Honorable Minister loves so much for your SMEs. We are into custom made software development. We build apps. Anything that you want, we can develop. We have quite a number of projects. I've just mentioned the major ones. We also train AI for executives as well as digital transformation. So our dream and our wish list, Honorable Minister and everyone here, our dream. Rwanda has got Irembo, which manages the whole of government. It's theirs. Kenya has got Uduma. Ghana has got Ghana Pay. Senegal has got Senegal Numeric, which is in French. And Tanzania is Watumishi. I've got friends in Rwanda. I've got friends in Tanzania. They always brag that you guys, you you say you are the sharpest, but you don't have your own system. What's happening? So our wish is, collabo, and then I don't know how, but that's my dream, personally, where we have our own system, which we call it which we call, we name using our vernacular. If you have seen, all these are in vernacular. Isikolo is a Ndebele name for school. Ndarama, Musiama. You get it? We want to take pride in those things. I had an opportunity to go to Korea last month. You know, there's a good ecosystem in the sense of pride in their local products. They were telling us about Hyundai, they were telling about Samsung, they were telling us about LG. LG does not mean life is good. It means something in Korea, which I was not able to explain. I cannot pronounce. So I think we can do that as well. So my wish is also strong collaboration between government, industry, and just to create a powerful ecosystem, because innovation does not happen in isolation, like my professor has said in his speech. And also more funding and patience from industry. You know, the biggest challenge with most innovations, they die at infant stage because industry is not patient to give us time to perfect and to mature our products. You get it? So I'm also appealing and asking for that. So in closing, I'm just going to pose some questions. Uh, you know, why is Facebook worth 1.5 trillion, yet we use it for free? Google is worth 4.8 trillion, yet we use it also for free. Where is it getting the money from? I think I posed that question in the morning. And we have a lot of influential Zimbabweans holding powerful positions in large multinational companies. That statement in red is my mother's statement before she passed on. When I was about to go to Australia, she was a war veteran. My mother and my father were both war veterans. They are late, unfortunately. They said, I had packed bags. My wife is here. We were about to go. And then they said, why are we good at doing things for others, but we cannot do things for ourselves? Why do you want to go and develop another nation? Why don't you stay? That was the same thing that Vice Chancellor said, I remember, in his office. You know, but so we have, like the president always says, you went Yikainova Kwaneshi, Nivenevayo. So this is a call to unite and also push forward. And also, it's a last question I'm posing to the industry people here. We proposed a solution for one big council. I'm not going to name the name. You say the name. We are offering lads at 350,000. Let's automate your council. Give us time. Give us a year. Give us a lab here. We'll dedicate people and to automate your operations. Until now, there's nothing, but they were willing to pay 51 million for a foreign system. Say, okay, just give us 1 million and then we'll automate. But still, it's almost 3-4 years, nothing has happened. It's a question that I'm posing as I conclude. I thank you. I don't have anything to say.
Thank you so much. Another beautiful round of applause for Engineer Maposa. Lovely presentation, lovely presentation. I think we heard about the brief history of Ndarama Technologies, the history, the services, the team, the projects, as well as the bottlenecks the organization has been facing in the industry. Now, at this moment in time, I think it would really be good for us to hear from the clientele, the clients that have really experienced the services that Ndarama Technologies is offering. So we're just going to have quick, brief presentations, and soon after that, we're going to welcome the Honorable Minister to give her remarks. Then we'll finish with our panel discussion. So at this moment in time, please allow me to welcome MMCZ, a representative from MMCZ. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause as he's coming on the stage.
A very good afternoon. I'll be riding on existing protocol. A special honor to Honorable Minister and Engineer Professor Kalukamu. I think we have worked together in some space. Right. Mine is with MMCZ. MMCZ, I think you know about being a parastatal, and we're responsible for solely marketing and exporting minerals produced in Zimbabwe, except for gold and silver. And these, you know, they are done by Fidelity. Right. When it comes to Ndarama Technologies, this is the ERP that they developed for MMCZ. Where were we coming from? We were coming from SAP, and around 2020, with serious licensing issues, and you know that, guys, SAP license is about 2 million, and the workflows that are not commensurate with our business cases in some instances in Zimbabwe. And they managed to do a lot of things. The key capabilities that I'm going to talk about: financial management. They did receipting, they did account receivables, account payables, general ledgers, and reconciliations. Then he made a special highlight on the marketing management, the contracts, the orders, invoicing, and tenders. Then procurement management, they've done supply management, purchases and orders, in administration, inventory. They've done fuel management, they've done fleet management, they've also done asset management, among other things. Then, in terms of impacts, the financial impact, it streamlined commission and rollout collection. It improved data management and collections, financial governance, and among other cost reductions. Operational impacts, I think he presented very well on this one. Governance and accountability, I'll share. The dashboards, they did marvelous work. You would think it came from outside Zimbabwe. Some things come and witness for yourselves. So the next steps that we are working on with Ndarama Technologies is to make sure we stabilize optimization. We start from September to November. Then the future. The future is driving from online transactional processing, which has been happening and has been happening very well. We are now moving to online analytical processing, decision making. But this system, the Minera ERP, it speaks to the buzzwords of the 21st century: AI, intelligence, and security, cyber security. The developers have moved to the left, they've the shift left strategy to make sure that as we develop this application, it's foolproof in terms of security and very intelligent. But before I leave, Honorable Minister, this package, the Minera ERP, speaks to the Zimbabwe whole of government architecture. What am I talking about? We have strategized, we have come up with the modern Zimbabwe 2030, we have coined the NDS2, and we're looking at efficient and effective service for our citizens. The software applications that have been developed, ARP, is integrating with TAMS, Zimra, integrating with Ascuda, Zimra, and as I'm speaking, we're integrating with RPZ. So in terms of looking at the enterprise architecture, this is the route to modernizing Zimbabwe. This is the route to bringing citizen-centric services, and the Minera ERP is providing that service. As I conclude, this system is not just an ICT capital investment, but it is a mission critical enterprise ready digital platform that will transform Zimbabwe for the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. A beautiful round of applause once again. That was MMCZ sharing their insights with regards to one of the products that they were helped by Ndarama Technologies to operate, which is the Minera ERP. Now, at this moment in time, we're now jumping to another clientele of Ndarama Technologies, which is ZIB. Let's give them a beautiful round of applause as they're coming on the stage. ZIB.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Allow me to acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister and Deputy Minister, and also allow me to write upon the protocol already observed. My name is Takuzo Howe. I'm coming from Zimbabwe Insurance Brokers Limited. ZIB is an insurance broker which was established in 1985, and I recently joined ZIB in 2024, and I was given a mandate by the executive to do a digital transformation. And my duties were to make sure we provide a solution that makes us a top-notch insurance broker in our industry. And discussions were made, and we thought that we need to do in customized system to handle our insurance processes as a broker. And we had other service providers coming to us, and we also had some from abroad. And we had to actually decide and agree that we need to go to HIT. We thought HIT could be the best place to go, and we are happy to say it was a happy place to go. They introduced us to Large Africa, and we met with the team, and I can truly testify with what we have achieved so far. I'll give you a testimony. We had a sporting weekend for the insurance players this weekend, and one of our colleagues said, "Chinu chakaipa ichi." We are managing to do our renewals in no time. Before, it used to be a struggle. And one thing that makes us Ndarama a good player, I will take you to the scriptures. Genesis 1 verse 27, it says, God said, let us create men in our own image and in our own likeness. And one of the characters of God is being a creator. And we have seen some people who are taking it seriously and putting scripture into practice and doing creation fearlessly and boldly in our country. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Ngobata anayo kungoti chino chakaipa ichi. All right, thank you so much, ZIB. Now, from ZIB, Once again, this is Ndarama Technologies offering tailor-made solutions for different organizations that want to digitize. Now, moving on to the next organization, that is Wange Property Company. Let's give them a beautiful round of applause. Wange Property Company.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Noreen Dube. I'm coming from Wange Property Company. Wange Property Company is a company that was birthed from the unbundling of Wange Colliery. Those who know Wange, Wange Colliery Company is the country's biggest coal supplier. We supply coal to ZPC, which is what generates power for the country. And we also are into industrial coal and exports. So from that unbundling, because of the property portfolio that we own, we were able to set up this entity called Wange Property Company. So I've just given you a brief of who we are. Just to elaborate on what we do as Wange Property Company, because Wange was built in 1899, previously known as Wangi, starts with a W. And in 1982, it then changed to Wange, which starts with an H. So over the years of establishment, there's a lot of infrastructure that was built to support mining operations, which included schools, houses, commercial properties for retailers, fuel stations, pubs and clubs. Clubs, we've got all sorts of sports in Wange. Think about 15 sports that we host with clubs. So from that whole process that has happened over almost 127 years, there's a lot of infrastructure that we now own, which we need to manage effectively. We're not only using it for mining operations now, we are also supporting the growth of the town. So in terms of data, we have a lot of tenants that we manage. Previously, we used to look at systems that were giving mainly solutions for mining operations. And because of our unique nature, it was not able to address the business needs related with property and our infrastructure. So we searched quite a lot. During that search, we found very expensive options, imported options, and which were not flexible to take care of our needs. And in that interaction with LADS, they were able to show us what they've done with the councils, because some of the services that we also do are municipal in nature in terms of roads, water, and so. So they were able to convince us that we will develop something that is tailored for your business. And I'm happy to say they have successfully done that. We went live in March. We had all sorts of problems. I think you can see from the screen. We had delays in billing our clients, in collections, visibility of our property portfolio performance. We were unable to track it. Issues to do with asset management, maintenance costs, we were unable to track that. Reporting was a challenge. Everything was manual. We had a lot of paperwork. You can imagine if we're talking about an excess of 6,000 properties and all of them require maintenance. And one day you are putting a door there, tomorrow you are painting that, and you cannot account for all your costs. So now this system has been able to develop something that we, in real time, we are able to see how much we are spending right to the T. When I say right to the T, I mean we can literally track where a bolt has gone, where a nut has gone. And we are also able to optimize performance of our portfolio by analyzing where our costs are inefficient. So effectively March, we now have an improved billing system. We are able to better monitor our outstanding rentals. We've also are happy that they were also able to include litigation processes for us to track when, let's say, a tenant is under litigation. At what point are they? How much is it costing us to litigate? And is that kind of operation still efficient? Enhanced revenue collection, because we can now bill everything accurately. We managed to reduce revenue leakage. Our reports are now coming timeously, in real time, and we now have better budgeting and forecasting for the future. This is just the operational impact in terms of our staff. I must say that our staff is very excited about the efficiency that the system has brought to us. They are able to track between themselves and their supervisors. If you've got an approval that is sitting with your supervisor, you can actually see that this approval for this good was sent to them for approval on this date, and this is where it's sitting. So over and above that, our interface with our clients is now also digital. So those who want to communicate with us in terms of requests for applications for property maintenance, all is through a WhatsApp chat board, and that WhatsApp chat board reports directly to our system. So we can see if there are any clients who are frustrated by service provision, we are able to detect that in real time. Our governance, we have a complete audit trail, very exciting. I'm not afraid of auditors anymore, because they will ask you questions that you can't answer. And I have a staff complement of about 424. To keep track of everyone is very difficult. But as it sits now, if there is any question about anything, it has got an audit trail for when the transaction started, who did what, where, and when. Better compliance with internal policies and statutes and tax laws. Very excited about that as well. I'm going to skip this because I can see the MC wants to take over. This is just a screenshot of our dashboard. Like I said, the number of employees that we manage and the number of properties we manage. I'm able to sit in my office and claim that I know what's going on everywhere. Our CEO has also tasked us to ask you to look at our agribusiness portfolio. We are also excited that even our finance team wants to extend this to the mining operations as well. So for us, this system, I can't stress it enough. It has been more than an ICT investment for us. It's a strategic enabler that is helping and strengthen our governance. And we can only wish you the best in your future endeavors. And we hope that the industry will support you the same way others have supported you.
Another beautiful round of applause for Wange Property Company. So I think it's all of us can see that besides just providing the solutions, there is also transparency in the solution. So if you're running an organization and you want to know what's happening, you better call Ndarama. Now, at this moment in time, please allow me to welcome PowerTel Communications. Let's give them a beautiful round of applause as they're coming on the stage. PowerTel Communications. PowerTel going once, going twice. Yes, I understand we do have the Minister of Local Government available. You can also come through. Minister of Local Government, a beautiful round of applause. Hanzi uchirai kusvika ndasvika.
Sure. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sorry, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, Professor Kamwe, and ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. I won't take much of your time. I'm from the Ministry of Local Government. I'm the Director ICT there. Just to share our experience with these guys who now call themselves Ndarama. It's a new name. Ideally, Honorable Minister is here. We are encouraged to then embrace the capacities within other state entities. As ministry, we partnered it through this instrument. And as you know, the level of service delivery by our councils within the country has gone to a lower level that we may not expect. So we then came up with an idea to say, how can we then monitor and probably motivate the guys in the councils to then prop up their service delivery performance? Engineer Maposa and his team then said, we can actually actuate these performance measures so that it becomes digital. We can now use, these digital initiatives into action through putting that into action. So we have that, we developed that, these guys developed that instrument, which is used by all the councils in Zimbabwe as a performance measure. The councils, let me give a brief background and also to try to allay certain perceptions which we may have. That instrument allows councils to give data, measurable data, for the 8 focus areas, which really are a pain point between myself and yourself in terms of WASH and other services that councils provide. When they do so through that platform, there is now a new extension that Engineer Maposa has already alluded to, which was launched by His Excellence, which we call Citizen Scoring and Engagement Platform, which now comes to you as the residents for each council to measure the performance of that council in terms of how you view it. Now, when we rate the service delivery by these councils, the information you guys rate your council will constitute more than 40% from what the council then submits to the ministry. So previously they used to say to lie or exaggerate, to say Dr. Rukuni here receives water 24/7. But now Dr. Rukun supplies information to say, I have no water, which will now the ministry use to account for the final score that will be given to the council. So I'm just giving a perspective of how we have collaborated with the HIT in terms of actuating technology in terms of our areas of responsibilities. So it has become very handy to the government. Like he said now, the chief secretary has hinted that we should roll that kind of tool throughout the entire government so that we are able to measure the services that we provide to the citizens. And the citizens actually have a say ultimately in what then should happen. The other key element that I would also wish to bring to your attention is when you score or when you rate your council, that too allows us to then generate recommendations from an AI-enabled algorithm that is inbuilt, which will then inform policymakers. So my honorable minister here will not spend more time to think what needs to be done given the scenarios that he has been provided as feedback by you residents. The tool will then, using AI, generate recommendations, the first line recommendation, which will then ultimately the honorables will then sit and refine. So it has become handy. I've seen the same brains that designed our dashboards. I've seen them. So I won't bother to then go into the platform and then show you. The same designs of the dashboard, we see who has taken, it's anonymous though, but in terms of the MSDS, minimum service delivery standards, the councils then provide the data. We see who has done what. But when it comes to citizen engagement, it's anonymous. But we tried to use technology to avoid the cheaters. I have my constituents and I'll mobilize them to provide information to say, I supply these things so that I appear good to the policymakers. No. The system has got an algorithm to randomize the feedback that comes through. And that randomization will then be picked to generalize the outcome of the entire feedback. I think that's what I can say. Additionally, I think Engineer Maposa has highlighted about my brick application. It's a baby still in the cooking. It's already, the application is ready for deployment. What then that does is to ensure we improve our revenue collection as government and as councils, where we particularly say every musika, every vendor should account for revenue to the fiscus. And for them to operate, there are process workflows defined through that application, which has to be actuated by each and every individual councils. I think I would put a rest to that. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, the Ministry of Local Government. Now, since earlier in the morning, there were so many presentations that were taking place. We heard about issues that had to do with data sovereignty. There were so many people that were talking about the bottlenecks, especially the young people. They spoke about the challenges they are facing with regards to being assisted in the digital ecosystem. They spoke about the importance of having adequate infrastructure. Now, the good thing is we have the biggest stakeholder on the land, the government in this room, which I am going to humbly call back again Professor Engineer Kanokangwe to come back and introduce the Deputy Minister who's going to introduce our guest of speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Director of Ceremonies. My task is very simple. We are pressed for time. The Honorable Minister has had an early day. She started at 6 o'clock. She's been in various meetings. So I want to invite the Deputy Minister, Honorable Puti, to come and do the honors of inviting our minister to the podium. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. The Director of Ceremonies, and of course, our gracious host, Prof. Engineer Kanukamwe. Let me recognize ministries that are here represented. The Ministry of Local Government, the Ministry of ICT. I know there are people who came to accompany the minister who are here. The Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs, and of course the Ministry of Higher and Tertiary who are here. Captains of industries here present, and dear professionals, engineers. everyone in the ICT sector. And of course, the man himself, Ubaba Umaposa. You know, I've been institutions of repute. She has also scored very well, and amongst others, was appointed to chair a council of ministers of ICT in Africa under the Transform Africa initiative. I just arrived from a tour of duty where she had assigned me to a very important process in Abuja, Nigeria. But when I got there, everyone was waiting for her, and she had apparently been put on the panel discussion because of who she has become in these circles. Very soon, she'll be leading Zimbabwe and leading Africa to, amongst other places, Australia, Brisbane, and leading into the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference that should decide the future of the global tendencies in the ICT sector. I don't want to delve much into her academic excellencies, but I know that she was whispering about some clash of dates on which she's supposed to be graduating. HHE is said to be doing something for ZAS, Zimbabwe Agricultural Society, because she is graduating as one of you PhD holders here present. Help me call upon our Honorable Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services to come and deliver her keynote address, who is none other than Honorable Tatenda Mavetera, also MP for Chikomba West constituency.
Thank you very much. And I also have a deputy minister, Ukaholic deputy minister. Thank you. May we all be seated. Thank you very much. Allow me to recognize the Honorable Minister for Higher and Tertiary Education, Innovation, Science and Technology, Honorable Ambassador Dr. Frederick Shava, who is going to be joining you tomorrow. Let me also recognize the Honorable Deputy Minister for the Ministry of ICT, the workaholic Honorable Put. Let me also recognize the various ministries who are represented here today. The Vice Chancellor of the Harare Institute of Technology, Professor Engineer Kanukamwe, the Founder and Chief Executive Officer of Ndarama Technologies, Engineer Maposa, representatives of the Zimbabwe Center for Higher Performance Computing, representatives of TEL1, representatives of the Econet AI Data Center, distinguished captains of industry, representatives from academia and research institutions, development partners, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. It's a very good afternoon to you all. Ndokutendai nekuuya kwenyu pachirongwa chakakosha kudai. Maita basa tinotenda. It is a profound honor to stand before you today, not simply as the Minister of ICT PCS, but as a co-architect of a shared digital destiny. We gather under a theme that is both a declaration and a call to action, building the foundation for Zimbabwe's AI future. That future is not a distant abstraction. It is being carved out today by our choices, our investment, and our resolve to claim our space in the fourth industrial revolution. Ladies and gentlemen, we often hear the phrase, data is the new oil. I prefer to more refine the proverb and say, data is the new gold, but only if you own the mine, control the refinery, and mint the coin. This is the essence of digital sovereignty. It is about ensuring that Zimbabwe's data, our digital gold, serves Zimbabwe's interest first. Artificial intelligence is voracious. It feeds on data. An AI that governs our health systems, our agriculture, our financial services is exactly what we need. We need to also be nourished by our realities. It also needs to be nourished by our languages and our own cultural context. Without sovereignty, we risk becoming a digital colony where our data is extracted, refined elsewhere, and sold back to us as a finished product. The great Pan-Africanist Kwame Nkrumah said, "We must master our own reality, or we shall be the slaves of the reality created by others." In the age of AI, mastering our reality begins with building a robust, sovereign digital infrastructure. That is why this seminar is not just a talk shop. It is here to forge where our digital spine is being tempered. Under the visionary leadership of our President, His Excellency Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, our national development strategy and the journey towards Vision 2030, it places ICTs at the center of economic transformation. We are happy that within the NDS2, we have been assigned a pillar which speaks into science, technology, human, and digital development. We need to build a future where AI is a tool for national prosperity. The Minister of ICT PCS is today outlining a clear policy compass. We need to work on our sovereign data infrastructure. I'm glad that here we have got Dr. Rukanda, we also have got Dr. Chiurunge, and again, Honorable Dr. Muduva Huizia. They were part of constructing our national AI strategy and other various academia which are also here. But I mention this because they're the ones that I saw on the program as well. We need to understand that when we're coming up with our national AI strategy, we're very clear to say that the issue of data infrastructure is very much needed. We need to speak of AI where our data resides, not in scattered spreadsheets, in unsecured offshore servers. But we want to make sure that under our Smart Zimbabwe 2030 Master Plan, we prioritize the establishment of a national data center ecosystem that is going to bedrock our digital sovereignty and make it secure, localized, and making sure that our national data is, of course, secured. We need to also look at skills that are relevant for an intelligent nation. This is going to see us have an AI revolution where we create our own Zimbabwe data scientists, machine learning engineers, and also a revolution that does not pass by, where we are going to establish our own intellects from Zimbabwe. Then there was the question that came from Honorable Maposa to say, Engineer Maposa, to say, why is it we always want to go and invest elsewhere? We train you here at times, or sometimes you train outside. But one thing you should understand is when you are a Zimbabwean, forever you become a Zimbabwean. Hallelujah. So what I mean is that we are Zimbabweans. And as much as we're Zimbabweans, nango ukaenda kwawaenda, unongozongozikana kuti uri muZimbabwe. So what does that mean? You are not supposed to leave the digital space when you've got the know-how and knowledge of knowing what is supposed to be done. You are supposed to contribute to it because His Excellency, our President, has given us a national philosophy, which is very clear to say, you know it? What is it? Thank you. You know it. Nyika inovakwa nevenhu vayo. Meaning that a country is built by its own. Therefore, we need to make sure that whatever we would want to do, as much as we can go and train elsewhere, let's bring it back home so that as Zimbabwe will also be able to benefit from that intellect that you have as an individual. He then asked to say, why is it some people would prefer to pay 51 million and not pay 350,000? For me, in the president's words, it is corruption at its best. We wouldn't expect that because we have got a solution which is cost effective, a solution that we're supposed to be able to accept on our own. We need to be able to promote localized solutions, which we know very well will cut down on all this cost. So the coming up of such an ERP like Ndarama, truly speaking, we need to embrace. Saka vana vacho vanozoitira pfungwa dzacho kupi kana isu segovernment, yet we are the greatest buyer. I've always said this. Government is the greatest buyer. So we believe that as government, definitely, I as Tatenda and also as the Minister of ICT, I'm going to stand and support this ERP solution to be put in government. As the futurist Alvin Toffler warned, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn and learn and relearn. So we need as government to be able to embrace all the solutions because our president has already directed us that this is the way to go. Let's get these solutions which are locally made because a country is built by its own. Let's embrace them because truly it doesn't make economic sense for one to take one which goes for 51 or even $2 million, yet one for $350,000 is there, unless you are benefiting somehow in that project. If you are not, then let's just make decisions which are very clear to say this is the way to go. We need to sprint with innovation, and we must not run naked. My ministry already has the Zimbabwe National AI Charter. This framework will ensure that algorithms deployed in our jurisdiction are fair, transparent, and also have got no bias. We need to establish regulatory sandboxes where startups can test AI solutions under a progressive, supportive oversight regime without immediately incurring the full weight of legacy regulations. Fragmented systems should be a thing of the past because they're an enemy of AI. We are mandating open API standards for all public sector digital platforms. Moreover, we must ensure that our AI understands our Shona, Ndebele, and all other national languages. This is so that it will save our citizens and also other Zimbabweans can fully understand it. We are investing in local language corpora, a task where our universities must take the lead. Government cannot do this alone. We need to push on public-private innovation commons, where we need to pursue the creation of Zimbabwe Digital Innovation Commons, a triple helix partnership linking government, industry, and academia. We are ring-fencing a percentage of the Universal Services Fund to co-finance AI for public good projects in precision agriculture, smart health diagnostics, to just mention a few. Ladies and gentlemen, the foundation we're building today through this seminar, through the Ndarama ERP launch, through our policy pronouncement, must be built with the strength of granite. AI is not magic. It is mathematics. It is engineering. And above all, it is a reflection of the data and values we pour into it. Let us live here determined to master our own reality. Let us be a nation that does not just consume the digital future, but invents it. The best way to predict the future is to create it, like what Abraham Lincoln said. I commend Professor Engineer Kanukamwe and the Harare Institute of Technology for continuing to demonstrate that universities are engines of innovation. Well done and congratulations, Professor. Haunganzi unenge uchiziva zvaunoita if you are going to have knowledge and you do not replicate to produce innovation. The president even said, I remember he was in Chikomba in my constituency where he had come to commission the Chifu Dam. He called Professor Mtulingwe and he said, Kuna Professor Mtulingwe, Professor Mtulingwe, munoziva here kuti hwiza dzinobikwa sei? Then Professor Mtulingoye said, what is hwiza? Then His Excellency was very clear. He then said, we don't want to produce education which leaves you without adding anything. What is psychometry? What is photosynthesis? So what? His Excellency was very clear. Now we need to produce education that produces results and tangibles that you can speak into. And today, Professor Kanukamwe, this is the education that His Excellency, our President, is always talking about. Where we have got an education which translates to tangible things, where we are going to speak about innovation. So indeed, I really want to commend you for translating research and creativity into enterprise. This is the way to go. Testimonials were said today, which really showcase that this is the right trajectory that HIT is going. Just last week, not even last week, I think it was on Monday, His Excellency also commissioned projects from another institution, which is also a university. So this is the way to go. We need education to be practical. And I'm glad this is the direction that our president is having. Artificial intelligence cannot flourish without robust digital infrastructure. Investment in high performance computing, secure data centers, resilient connectivity, and trusted cloud services are therefore investment in Zimbabwe's future to make it more competitive. The work of the Zimbabwe Center for High Performance Computing, together with investment by Tel1, private sector partners such as Econet AI, is laying a strong foundation for our digital future. Technology must ultimately improve people's lives. AI should strengthen agriculture, healthcare, education, mining, manufacturing, financial services, and public administration. Innovation must always be measured by the positive impact it has to our citizens. Artificial intelligence is reshaping economies and societies. Nations that invest in talent, trusted infrastructure, research, and innovation will define the future. Zimbabwe has chosen that path. Zimbabwe is going to commit to 5 strategic priorities. Number 1, we must develop a national digital sovereignty framework that aligns investment, governance, and innovation around a shared national vision. Number 2, we should strengthen access to sovereign computing capabilities by expanding collaboration around high performance computing, starting with the Zimbabwe HPC Center, data centers, and secure digital infrastructure to support researchers, innovators, and industry. Number 3, we need to accelerate AI adoption across agriculture, mining, health, education, manufacturing, and public administration so that AI delivers measurable improvements in productivity and service delivery. Number 4, we need to promote indigenous languages. AI should support technologies that recognize Shona, Ndebele, and other indigenous languages, ensuring that our cultural heritage is represented in the digital age. And number 5, we need to continuously foster an enabling policy environment that allows innovative Zimbabwean companies such as Ndarama Technologies to flourish. To also recognize that His Excellency, our President, Dr. Idi Mnangagwa, he has already given incentives for companies that are going to embed AI in their operations. This we need to implement as Minister of ICT together with the Minister of Finance so that we have got more special economic zones which are set aside for the adoption of AI in the country. We need at the same time to be able to offer incentives so that we'll continuously prosper as a country. Let us therefore build AI that serves our people, reflects our values, and advances our national development aspirations. Let us ensure Zimbabwe becomes a recognized leader in Africa's digital transformation. Indeed, as I conclude, let me conclude and say the collaboration is very much recognized. And indeed, we need to continuously make sure that the greatest resource any nation possesses is the ingenuity of its people. When our innovators succeed, Zimbabwe succeeds. When our technology companies grow, Zimbabwe grows. When AI improves the lives of our people, Vision 2030 becomes very much closer to us. Together, hand in hand, government and citizen, let us create a Zimbabwean AI future that is sovereign, prosperous, and uniquely ours. Thank you.
Wow. I know we can make it louder. And Honorable Minister, before you leave, a lot of people they have very important questions, but we understand that you do have a pressing engagement. But I've got my own question. Can we take a selfie for you? I'm shooting my shot, guys. Ndine Instagram followers mashoma.
No. It's not.
Wow. Ndabva ndakorektwa. Ndakatenga iPhone 17 Pro Max nyowani. Ndabva ndakorektwa. Hanzi ine tsvina. All right, thank you so much. And before you leave again, we also have a small token of appreciation that we'd like to give you on behalf of Ndarama Technologies. If we can have the board secretary to come through. Natasha Munjoma, let's give a beautiful round of applause. Board secretary of Ndarama Technologies.
Sure. Thank you, Honorable Minister and Honorable Deputy Minister, for your presence here today. Colleagues, allow me to write on the protocol that has already been observed. We just want to give you a small token of appreciation from the Ndarama team. We acknowledge your passion and vision for taking Zimbabwe's IT sector to the next level. And we are truly appreciative for your support today. And we know you will continue to support us with our next endeavors. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's remain upstanding. The Honorable Minister has a pressing engagement, so let's just give a room to leave with the delegation as we appreciate your presence for coming through for this particular event. We are now jumping onto the preliminary or the final part of the program, rather, where we have a very interesting panel discussions with people that I believe that they come from the expert world. Ndambonzwa makuseni vamwe vangu vachitaura kuti I'm only giving a layman's perspective. Vari kuuya, they are not really going to give a layman's perspective because they understand what's really happening around the industry. Now, to lead us for a panel discussion titled Building Zimbabwe's AI Ecosystem Through Digital Sovereignty, please allow me to welcome Engineer L. Masiazi. Let's give you a beautiful round of applause as she's coming on the stage. Engineer El Masiazi. Okay, I'm assuming maybe she escorted the minister. But in the while, I can read your profile and the profiles of the other speakers as well, while we're waiting for you to come. Engineer Masiazi is Director, TLCC, overseeing activity in the HIT Innovation Hub at the Harare Institute of Technology. She is also an engineer with the Zimbabwe Institution of Engineers under the Engineering Council of Zimbabwe. With over 15 years accumulated experience, she has been involved in promoting design thinking, innovation technology, and women and girls adoption and practice of STEM fields, thus earning a number of awards and appointments, including the National Women in Science, Technology, and Innovation Leadership Award, the International Visitor Leadership Program Award USA, the Tech Women USA Emerging Leader Award in Green Technology, Silicon Valley, the Zimbabwe Ambassadorship for Women and Men in Environment and Artificial Intelligence, the Zimbabwe ICT Conference Award for Best ICT Leading Women and Girl Child Motivator. She is a business and intellectual property consultant and mentor for early stage startups, micro and small to medium enterprises and corporates. She serves as a mentor and coach for male and female tech focused innovators, entrepreneurs, and university, high school, and primary school students in collaboration with various STEM focused networks. Her passion and focus are in extending technology, digital and business literacy, enthusiasm for innovation, and promoting the sharing and use of knowledge for positive impact in communities. Let's give her a beautiful round of applause. To join them on this panel, we're going to have Honorable Dr. Engineer Martin Muduva. Honorable Commissioner Dr. Engineer Martin Muduva is currently serving as a commissioner at the Zimbabwe Human Rights Commission. He is also a member of the Innovation Drive and Assessment Committee under Portras, a lecturer in the Information Sciences and Marketing Department at Midland State University, and a technology risk and assurance consultant. Academically, he holds a Doctor of Philosophy degree, majoring in data science, and an MSc in entrepreneurship and innovation. His qualification also includes a Master of Leadership and Corporate Governance, an MSc in Mechatronics and Artificial Intelligence, an MSc in Big Data Analytics First Class, and a BTech Honors degree in Information Security and Assurance First Class. Additionally, he holds a postgraduate diploma in Corporate Risk, Safety and Security Management, as well as a certificate in higher and tertiary education. With extensive expertise in ICT, emerging technologies, cybersecurity, data science, and digital transformation, Commissioner Muduva has been instrumental in advancing digital innovation and cyber resilience across the public and private sectors locally and regionally. His work spans research, consulting, and high impact projects that strengthen cybersecurity, business continuity, and business competitive strategy formulation. Recognized as a thought leader, he frequently speaks at major conferences and media platforms on emerging technologies and sustainability. Additionally, he provides specialized trainings for board directors on emerging technologies, shaping industries. Commissioner Muduva is affiliated with the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, IEEE. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause. I was inspired. Honorable Commissioner, Engineer, Dr. Martin Muduva. Vangadi vedu vane mazita anotanga nemadegree program avo. Kana kuti tese tingori vana tinashe simudzirai. Makangofananawo neni tiri murumu muno. Now we're moving on to the next panelist. Our next panelist is going to be Professor Dr. Engineer Talon Garikai. Professor Dr. Engineer Talon Garikai is an accomplished academic engineer, innovator, and technology leader with expertise in mechatronics, artificial intelligence, robotics, industrial automation, and technology commercialization. He currently serves as Deputy Vice Chancellor at Africa University, having previously served as Pro Vice Chancellor responsible for research, innovation, and commercialization at the Harare Institute of Technology. He holds a PhD in mechatronics from Stellenbosch University with specialization in bionics, artificial intelligence, and biomedical engineering applications. Professor Garikai has extensive academic and industrial experience and has played a significant role in translating research and innovation into practical technological solutions and commercially viable ventures. He is also a non-executive director for Net1, responsible for business development. He is passionate about innovation, entrepreneurship, technology transfer, and leveraging emerging technologies to drive Africa's socioeconomic development. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause as well. Then finally, we have Dr. Panashe Chiurunge, the Chief AI Scientist, Deep Analytics. Dr. Panashe Chiurunge is an accomplished artificial intelligence scientist, mathematician, entrepreneur, and thought leader with extensive expertise in artificial intelligence and machine learning, data science, big data analytics, and quantitative finance. He holds a PhD in artificial intelligence and he has contributed significantly to research, innovation, and capacity development in emerging technologies. He serves as Chief AI Scientist at Deep Analytics and has been actively involved in advancing Africa's AI and digital transformation agenda. Dr. Chiurunge has also contributed to Zimbabwe's national AI development efforts, including participation in the development of the Zimbabwe National Artificial Intelligence Strategy 2026 to 2030. Passionate advocate for homegrown technological innovation, AI capacity building, and digital sovereignty. Dr. Chiurunge's work focuses on harnessing artificial intelligence and data-driven technologies to address Africa's developmental challenges and strengthen the continent's competitiveness in the global digital economy. A beautiful round of applause as well as he's coming on the stage. I'd like to believe that our Madam Moderator is back. She's at the back. All right. So let me call here. While I'm calling here, you can just give brief introductions about yourselves and the work that you do. Then just give me 2 minutes. The Honorable Engineer, Dr. Commissioner.
Okay, thank you, our host, our MC, and I want to appreciate and I'm so grateful to share this stage at HIT as the university that born my journey in this tech world. I am a graduate of the pioneer class of the Information Security and Assurance BTech honors degree here at HIT, started 2011 to 2015. And it's also my pleasure to share the stage with great minds, Prof. Garkai and Doc Panashe, who is also my lecturer for the MS in Big Data Analytics at Chinoy, and my language in emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning is actually a reflection of his own expertise. I really appreciate that. And I have graduated more into policy and governance in terms of in terms of sustainable technology adoption in business and government service provision, having participated immensely in the drafting of the National AI Strategy 2026-2030, the Zimbabwe AI Readiness Assessment Methodology done in 2025 through UNESCO and Ministry of ICT's initiatives, also the National Cybersecurity Strategy, and the ICT review, National ICT Policy Review of 2020 to 27. And I hope that I will continue to be part of the story as we roll out. I'm also part of the National Innovation Acceleration Center Advisory Council. I'm a member in that council. And currently, we are implementing the National AI Strategy, AI Grand Challenge in Manicaland. I just returned for this conversation. The conversation in Nyanga is going to end on Friday. I'll be back there to complete the business tomorrow. I'm also much involved in strategic guidance on how to both pursue their dual mandates in the era of dynamics caused by technology. And that is to say, how to both compete and protect. When I look at both, when I look at those charged with the governance burden within institutions, I see the burden of creating initiatives of competitiveness and be charged with the responsibility of consolidation through the protection function. And I hope my exchange is going to serve the purpose desired. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think the introductions were done. I have been at HIT since I was a young man. I think I joined HIT 2013 as a lecturer, and I left the institute as a pro vice chancellor to join Africa University. I've taken a sabbatical leave for 3 years, and I think with God's grace, someday maybe I'll be back again at HIT. And I've shared the journey with Engineer Maposa. I think we started with the Zimba RDC, and we went to Bigita together. And I remember the first time we pitched at Bigita RDC as our first or second actually local authority. Way back should be 2017 or so. And I still have vivid memories of how they wanted us to do things for free. Everyone wanted everything for free. But today we celebrate 83 local authorities. And I remember when we pitched for MMCZ again, trying to convince the management at MMCZ. You know, the most difficult thing that I have experienced so far as a professor is how do you convince someone that you have a problem that they don't know they have a problem? That is the most difficult thing. If you're a technologist and innovator, is you're coming up with something Some people will never believe that they have that problem. And you want to treat an ailment that is not yet there. You want to provide a solution for dambudziko risati ravapo. So I remember some authorities used to call us, you are giving us worries because you are creating a problem which is not there. One authority once said, we've been running this council for the past 80 years or so. Since the time of Smith, why change? So transformation and change is not an easy thing. And I'm also most grateful to Honorable July Moyo for opening doors for lads, for opening doors for youth. I know wherever he is now with Ministry of Energy, you know, he wanted uniformity and lads brought uniformity. And I'm very thankful for Engineer Masia's here present. You know, I was always backing and she will be always holding the rope to say, PVC, stop. You can now stop. You can now stop. And when I look at her, I was here, she was more of my legal counsel. She was there to guide me because naturally, I'm a hustler. Naturally, I want to see things done no matter what. So that was my biggest problem. And I think I'm maturing in terms of making sure that I follow protocol. And sometimes you tell me, PVC, this local authority has refused. And I say, I'm going there. And I'll go there and I'll make sure that we talk and we don't get out of there without a solution. So I'm really grateful. And as the board chair for Ndarama, I can promise you that just imagine Gargai alone, Maposa alone, and then try to imagine Gargai and Maposa together. You know, I believe we are going to do great things for Zimbabwe. We have done a lot of innovations for this country as individuals, but now as a team and as brothers, I believe the board will be able to deliver. I thank you.
Thank you, Prof. It's great to be back at HEAT. I'm also an ex-board member. I'm also an ex-board member of HEAT from 2017 to yeah. I'm the one who recruited him. Yes, yeah. So I'm truly honored to, yeah, of course, and I was interacting a lot with the engineer. I used to call him just Terry, quite a lot. And in the past 2 years, I was based in Ethiopia, where I was the chief AI scientist for the African Union. For just 2 years, it was a 2 year engagement. Glad to be back again in Zimbabwe to continue the journey of advancing AI in Zimbabwe. And I actually have some work for you. I was actually talking to universities in Mozambique whilst you were presenting, and they actually need an ERP. So we can have that discussion offline, and you can engage them on their requirements. So it's great that there's a Zimbabwe solution, and I'm also there to make sure, and also as a ex-HEAT board member, that I'm also advancing Ndarama adoption across Africa. So it's great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay, thank you so much. Can we have a round of applause for our panelists? I think we're going to jump straight into the panel discussion. Um, I have some questions for you as a panel, and I will start off first with you, Professor Garigai. My question to you is, Zimbabwe universities have generated significant research outputs and also intellectual capital. What do you believe or feel should change for our universities to become, the engines in terms of converting research, developing AI innovations and intellectual property commercially, and making sure that these are viable within Zimbabwe?
Thank you, Director Masiasi. Yes. In terms of our universities, I think the first thing that we need to do, the first step is to move from a publication-driven university to an innovation-driven university. So innovation has to be an identity. You need to be called an innovator, but many times it's very difficult to be called a publisher. So innovation is something that you can be identified with. So as universities, if you look at the way the University of Zimbabwe have been structured using X, it means that each and every university has been mandated to make sure that they innovate. If you look at the HIT Act Section 4, they will say development, incubation, transfer, and commercialization of technology. And if you read it with Section 4B with the G, it will tell you about the issue of relevance of that research. So I want to say, you said Zimbabwe has been churning a lot of research, but the most important aspect is it a relevant research. So researching for assessment and qualification as a student is different from researching to innovate, because we have worked in innovation offices. Sometimes when you collect all the theses that these students would have done and you run them through a similarity index software like Turnitin, you find that maybe 99.9 of them are not have no originality. So when it comes to patenting, which is a step in commercialization, there is need for you then to make sure that there's originality, there's novelty that can lead to industrialization. So I think the most important thing now is to make sure that innovation is at the center of every university. And then next is to make sure that the whole university ecosystem is actually an innovation hub, not to identify an innovation hub as a building. Like here we are in the what? Innovation hub. Allow the laboratories to be upgraded and funded to the level of churning out research outputs that can come into these commercialization laboratories we are calling the innovation hub. So I think there are two main issues to be done. Promotion to professorship should also be aligned to innovation. One. Number two, to impact of the innovation. By now, I should say Professor Maposa. No, it is supposed to do that. Because when I left here, when I left it, I was a doctor. I joined AU, which has got a promotional policy that reflects or identifies itself with innovation. So for them, one innovation, one patent is equivalent to 10 journal publications. So if you are a professor, you need 35 publications, you need 3 innovations. I think you get the sense of it. So they are actually then looking at your innovations and then the impact of your innovation. So if LADS is 350,000, 350,000 times 83 local authorities, that's more than 1 million. Who has better improved the livelihoods of a community? Someone with a bar graphs and pie charts, and someone who has actually transformed municipalities. And then I'll say, well, because you've got bar graphs and pie charts, I'm going to be calling you professor, and I'm going to give you more money. You have transformed the authorities, but you didn't publish. Then it means you are not going to be a professor. So I think innovation has to be centralized. Lastly, if you still remember Engineer Masiazi, if you look at Africa Union, one patent, if you want to apply for a grant with Africa Union, they'll say one patent is equivalent to 13 journals. Then they are now saying without any patent, you are not allowed to apply for a what? For a grant. You cannot get an AU grant because you are a professor. They say within your professorship, you should have at least produced something for the community. I think that is what we need to do, a very good ecosystem. That is what is mandatory. I will not talk about triple helix. The minister has talked about it. But the most important thing is to make sure that innovation becomes an identity at any university. I thank you.
Thank you. So impact, relevance are really key in terms of the production of such innovations. And I think my next question, I'm going to, it's linked to that, is our Honorable Commissioner, Mudua. My question to you is, in the interest of saying relevance and impact, Zimbabwe is accelerating, AI adoption in the various spheres, digitizing both public and private services. how do you see us as a nation ensuring that digital sovereignty does not come at the expense of human rights, public trust, privacy?
Thank you, engineer. And allow me to just pick a nugget from Prof's submissions. It's actually, it's an interesting issue. When we launched, if you recall, when we launched the AI Grand Challenge there, where we were saying that it's not a call for abstracts, it's not a journal conference. We are not looking for those who can use AI, but those who can solve problems using AI. And I strongly align with Prof's submissions that everything must shift towards impact, because what we want is to transform livelihoods, to improve the overall competitiveness of our nation. And back to your question, engineer, on the issue of AI, sovereignty, and humanity. It's very fundamental, and it's not a conversation of this moment only. It's a global conversation. If you recall very well, calls to ensure that technology bows down, kneels down to save humanity have dated back as early as before even 2020. UNESCO's Ethics on Artificial Intelligence Adoption 2021, UN, the same principles. We also have ITU principles. Our own national AI strategy, pillar number 4, speaks about governance and regulation, which pronounce how artificial intelligence adoption should promote sustainability within our circles of survival. So you also recall that from a religious perspective, the Pope at one point is popular of having authored a directive that uh, priests should stop using artificial intelligence to generate sermons. It's debatable, I know, but it's a call that happened. And we also saw a letter that is said to have originated from the Pope directing the church to stop using artificial intelligence, and also saying that the artificial intelligence must be disarmed. What does this mean? It's all about a human-centric approach to AI transformation, to intelligence transformation, to promotion of sustainability. How then do we achieve it within our circle? Embedding from a cyber and data protection perspective, the CDPA 2021 pronounce security by default, privacy by default, ensuring that we integrate and embed AI security. We are no longer speaking of cyber security right now. We are speaking of intelligence security. Because the moment we speak of AI, we are speaking of the whole data-driven value chain process. And we want to embed security at every instance of the value chain process. And I want to believe that if we do that, we are going to promote sustainable AI adoption, but it must be human rights centered. If you look at issues to do with Section 56 of our Constitution, promoting and ensuring that we all have an equal opportunity to participate or to consume technology or to consume any resources within our nation. You look also at Section 57, the right to privacy. Will technology not cost the privacy of the data subjects, the privacy of the people whose information is being collected and processed? So it's important to embed and integrate security along the value chain process, right from collection up to production and ultimately consumption. I thank you.
Okay, so that in essence, what we are seeing from this is as we build our various innovations, there are aspects where we need to ensure that it's human rights driven. And that's what I'm learning from your submission, Honorable Commissioner. And this now makes me turn to Dr. Panache, because, when it comes to data, any startup that is being birthed, especially in the area of AI, they rely on data a lot. Um, and it's also, we often are saying that data is the new gold or the new oil. That is the terminology that we use. And yet, when we look at how our data is being processed and monetized through the platforms developed outside the continent, how can Zimbabwe leverage its own data to transform it into a strategic national asset?
Thank you, engineer. Uh, I think first of all, we need to understand how much data do we generate as a country, right? How much data do we generate? So Fortress is actively looking at and recording data that is generated online. So we're talking of online data. We, as a nation, we generate 2 zettabytes of data every year. 2 zettabytes of data. And some of you might be looking at me, 2 zettabytes. What is that? As a nation used to counting trillions and quadrillions. What is 2 zettabytes? So 1,000 megabytes is 1 gigabyte. 1,000 gigabytes is 1 terabyte. 1,000 terabytes is 1 petabyte. Sorry, 1,000 terabytes is 1 petabyte. 1,000 petabytes is 1 exabyte. 1,000 exabytes is 1 zettabyte. So a zettabyte has got 21 zeros, right? So a quadrillion has got 18 zeros. So we were short of being zittonillionaires. Right? It's got 21 zeros. So we generate 2 zettabytes every year. All right. So for us, then all this data that we generate, we've got so many silos of this data in different government departments. So we have to create what is called a national data register to be able to document what data do we have. At the moment, we have got ZimStats. So ZimStats is the authority that is responsible for collecting data. But there are gaps because there's only specific data that they collect and report on, right? So we have to first create a national register and catalog of our data. After we do that, we then have to turn those data sets into data assets, right? Data set into data asset. For us to be able to do that, what we mean is we need to then turn that data into some monetization into value. So we create what we call a data exchange. That data exchange is where anyone who then needs data is able to connect to that data resource through some means of API or whatever mechanism that they can connect to that data, right? And then also we need to then think about all of these applications that we call OTT, over the top applications like Facebook, Twitter, and so on that are harvesting Zimbabwean data. We also need to tax them for harvesting our data because we are not getting access to that data, right? So if you think of that 2 zettabytes of data that is generated, almost 0. Half of that, less than half of that is actually WhatsApp data, right? Zimbabwe's got a population of about 16.5 million, something like that. Out of that 16.5 million, Zimbabwe has something like 100 million WhatsApp groups. We've got more WhatsApp groups than the people in Zimbabwe, right? And all of that data is not residing in data centers in Zimbabwe. So we need a way of taxing them for collecting our data and getting that data back into Zimbabwe. Because data, just like oil, you extract oil and then you then process oil so that you turn it into petrol and diesel and other types of fuel. So the same thing with data. We need to then process that data and add value to it.
Okay, thank you for that. I actually learned a new term in terms of the zettabytes. I was not actually aware of that, but it's intriguing in terms of the statistics you are also sharing with regards to how much data is actually going out. And this then takes me to Dr. Whisper. Uh, it's linked to that in the sense that, you know, many African institutions actually depend heavily on foreign softwares and platforms and digital infrastructure. So does this dependence probably create a strategic risk, you know, to our digital sovereignty, in your opinion? And how can Zimbabwe realistically reduce that dependency without isolating itself from the world?
I think I will start with one of the biggest risks is why we're here is because then obviously it discourages promotion of locally developed applications when people are buying international software and getting their data saved on the foreign cloud. Means a lot of foreign currency is leaving the country, and people are paying licensing fees, and a lot of local data is residing elsewhere overseas. It also, you know, disrupts, you know, issues around us having our own data. You know, I heard Dr. Pan talking about zettabytes, terabytes, and so forth of data, but that data is not stored here. It's stored outside, and most of this data that we are getting AI to work on is not data that is here. The data that we are using on AI is data that most of it, which is accurate, is data for Europe, data for USA. So we need to start looking at, you know, repository for our own data, so that if we are doing this analysis, uh, it's on our data. Some strategic risks to Zimbabwe's digital sovereignty. Oh, I've just talked about data and national security, sensitive government data, sensitive financial healthcare data is stored outside our jurisdiction of control, and it's under foreign laws, and they can do what they want with. It affects our economic dependence. In other words, I've just talked about significant foreign currency being used to pay for the licensing fees. Local ICT industries will struggle to compete with those international, you know, multinational technology providers. It suffer from technology lock-in, where we are saying that dependence on a smaller number of global vendors makes migration very difficult and expensive. We suffer from cybersecurity risks, where we are saying we may have major cloud providers invest heavily in security, but they are concentrating the essential on the national services for external platforms, and it creates what I would call systematic risk. Cyber incidents, geopolitical conflicts are also enhanced in there. Limited local innovation also, we suffer from that. And some, you know, it will be difficult for us to classify our data by sensitivity because we really don't have it here. It's some of it is sitting with AWS in Cape Town, some is sitting elsewhere. I think in a nutshell, I'll end there, not talking about public website tools and the challenges. I'll just mention those few ones.
Okay, so maybe what I'll then do is I'll ask the same question, but give each panel member, it will be my last question for this panel, to then just respond to this. If you had one opportunity or power to make a decision today that would position Zimbabwe uh, as AI ready, digitally sovereign nation by 2030, what would that decision be? And I'll start with you, Honorable Commissioner.
Thank you. I would advocate for I would advocate and direct for local firsts to become global best. Ndarama is a good testimony. Thank you.
Prof.
Okay, for me, I think the best decision that I will make is I'll make sure that every university, whether you're offering technical based courses or degrees, but you have got an AI laboratory so that we don't create users, but we also train developers of AI solutions. So I advocate for more infrastructure in AI at polytechnic level, vocational training level, at degree level. Thank you.
For me, I would advocate for that we set up the world-class data centers and also have enough power. Currently, we don't have enough power for rural electrification, and our needs are competing. Power needs, energy needs are competing with rural electrification and also industrialization. So I would make sure that we've got at least 10,000 megawatts of excess energy, and we're dedicating about 2,000 megawatts to world-class data centers.
I would advocate for building, digital skills, because I think digital sovereignty depends ultimately mostly on people. So I would advocate that we set up, training infrastructure, ICT and digital skills training centers and certify them before we deploy them. Sovereignty can only be for us by us after our skills have been enhanced.
Okay, thank you very much for that. I think this will come to the end of our panel, but what I've captured from here is aspects to do with ensuring there's human capital development, ensuring that our privacy and cybersecurity issues are addressed, and infrastructure being really key to ensuring that our data and digital sovereignty is achieved. So thank you very much, and can we give a round of applause to our panel? MC. Do we have any questions from the floor before we step down? Going once? Going twice? There's a question there. Okay, can we have a mic?
Thank you so much, panel. Inini, I'm not an ICT person. I am a pastor. So I got to enjoy this platform to learn more about AI and digital solutions and the like. I wanted to check because ever since I came in the morning, the language that has been used throughout the seminar was very technical. Of course, it takes someone anenge anewo kuvhurika mbichana kuti anzwe kuti nyaya dzekutarwa panapa, what are we really talking about? And as I was following, there is a data center, if I'm not mistaken, by HPC, and the uptake of that concept seems to be low. I would like to believe this drive toward digitalization of everything is inclusive of people like myself. And Sekuru Arikumusha Kwanditi, they said they have to be part of this. How can we try and downgrade our communication, our language in a manner inogona kuti the ordinary person in the street is not afraid, is not scared kana takutaura nyaya dzetechnology, because usually kana tikangotaura nyaya dzetechnology unotongoti vari kuti chiiko. I would like to believe something was being streamed from here, handisi language yacho kuti kustreama here kudii. Kana paine munhu anga achifollowa, an ordinary person anobva kuti okay, ovhatarisa kuside. Yet this thing is something chatisingagone kuita run away from, kwatiri kuenda. How do we make this technology thing become an ordinary person food yekuti anonakidzwa nayo achifara nayo? Thank you so much.
Maybe before you respond, do we have any other questions from the audience so that they can be responded all at once? Going once, going twice. You've got a question? Okay. You can proceed.
Thank you. I think in terms of the language, the government has done what they call the AI strategy, which is a roadmap, and it is being in the process of being demystified and put in several languages that everyone else will be able to understand. Secondly, if you look at high schools now, they've a course. We used to know computer science at high school, but now they've got software engineering. They also now have as a degree where AI is embedded. And most institutions, including it, AI is now compulsory, whether you are studying another subject that has nothing to do with computer science, and also such as Africa University. So those pastors we have at Africa University, they are in their first year, they study AI, so that when they go and preach as pastors in the community, they also take that word to the general population. So I think a lot is being done in terms of awareness and demystifying, and make sure that AI chiti chihuta chichangouya chobva chapfuura tisina kupora pamusoro pacho. Thank you.
And I think I will just add from Ndarama Technologies point of view. As the technology is going to the different corporates, different ministries, obviously the general public also comes in as an end user. And what you'll find is, as part of that process, we are also packaging information to do with the use of Ndarama Technologies and the different softwares so that the common user can understand and take advantage of it and be able to use it. So you'll find even in the deployments that are being done, whether it's the insurance industry, whether it's ministry, whether it's a corporate, because the end user is the common, the end user at the end of the day, they are also considered when these softwares are being developed. To also say, take advantage of local softwares that are being developed because, first of all, they have the community at heart and can also be easily explained to say this is how it works. So you'll even find with the platform that was developed by the same software team, the citizen engagement platform is also there and available in other languages besides English, so that the community users who are interacting with that local software are able to actively participate. For us, we don't want our digital solutions that we develop locally to be felt like they are an imposition or something that's separate from the lifestyles of the citizens of Zimbabwe. So Ndarama Technologies is not just for corporate, it also has the end user in mind. And yes, at the deployment stage, at the engagement stage, a lot of things are demystified. And as what Prof. Garikai has also said, universities, and in this case, particularly HIT, we actually offer a short course in artificial intelligence for those people who don't have the necessarily technical background, to just have an understanding and appreciation of how they can take advantage of these technologies and utilize them in their lifestyles, in their businesses, and in terms of how they actually process their information. So yes, there is at deployment level an aspect to demystify this. Thank you.
So you know what the missionaries did when they came to Zimbabwe in terms of the Bible? What did they do with the Bible? They converted the English to what? To local language, right? So I believe the same should be done in terms of educating our people. The thing is, if you go to Germany, you study physics, chemistry, mechatronics in their own native language, right? So why can't we do the same with Shona? And what would we call artificial intelligence in Shona? No, we should be able, because what is the word for artificial in Shona, and what is the word for intelligence in Shona? Right? Can we come up with terms to then call AI in Shona? The words are already there, but so people like him, the professors or who lead us, are supposed to come up with the Shona words, right? To guide the artificial intelligence, Shona. Artificial, eh? Artificial in Shona. What is artificial, or to mimic?
Fake. Artificial fake.
Ungwaru wekugadzira ka. Yeah, saka exactly. So we can say hungwaru wekugadzira tichisenzesa technology. That is something that we can explain to my grandmother Kumusha, isn't it? Yeah. So we should learn. We should use Shona and other languages, right? For all this technical terminology, I think that's what would resonate a lot with the common man in the street. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a round of applause as the panel steps down from the stage? Thank you so much.
Yes, a beautiful
You
round
can
of
keep clapping until they.
Before you leave, maybe you can just stand just for a quick photo for the panel. Just a quick photo for the panel, and then we jump in. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have now reached the boiling point of our program. At this moment in time, please allow me to welcome the PVC of Academic Affairs, Mr. Gwarimbo, for closing remarks. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause.
Thank you very much. Mine is a very short and straight assignment to just thank the Honorable Minister of Information, Communication Technology, Postal and Career Services. Allow me to begin by expressing our deepest appreciation for your presence and for the inspiring address you have delivered this afternoon. Your unwavering commitment to advancing Zimbabwe's digital transformation agenda and fostering an innovation-driven economy continues to motivate institutions such as the Harare Institute of Technology to pursue excellence in research, innovation, and technology commercialization. Your insightful reflections have reinforced the critical role that universities, industry, and government must collectively play in building a digitally sovereign, industrialized, and globally competitive Zimbabwe. Our sincere gratitude also goes to our Vice Chancellor, members of the university executive, distinguished guests, reaffirmed the importance of collaboration in transforming innovative ideas into sustainable enterprises. The graduation of Ndarama from the HIT Innovation Hub is a clear demonstration. It's a clear demonstration of what is possible when academia, government, industry, and entrepreneurs work together to create solutions that address national challenges and generate economic value. I would also like to acknowledge the exceptional efforts of the Innovation Hub, the Technopreneurship Development Center, our academic and administrative staff, mentors, researchers, and students whose dedication has made today's milestone possible. Their commitment embodies the University Education 5.0 philosophy of teaching, research, community service, innovation, and industrialization. Through initiatives such as these, HIT continues to nurture innovators who are not only creators of knowledge, but also drivers of enterprise development, job creation, and national prosperity. As we bring this seminar to a close, let us carry forward the momentum generated today by strengthening partnerships, investing in innovation, and accelerating the commercialization of homegrown technologies. The success of Ndarama is not merely an institutional achievement. It is a beacon of what Zimbabwe can accomplish through vision, collaboration, and determination. On behalf of HI, of the entire Harare Institute of Technology community, I thank the Honorable Minister, all our distinguished guests, partners, and every individual who contributed to the success of this memorable occasion. We wish you safe travels and look forward to continuing this shared journey of designing an assured future for our nation. Thank you.
Yes, a beautiful round of applause for Professor. Oh, thank you so much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this officially marks the end of the formal proceedings. The name is Simudzirai, Tinashe Simudzirai, and I was your director of ceremony for this particular event. I look forward to meeting you once again sometime at your event. Now, without further ado, we're going to close with the closing prayer. Please allow me to welcome Prophet Mutero. Let's give him a beautiful round of applause as coming on the stage.
Thank you. Let's all bow our heads in prayer. Father, we thank you for this wonderful day. We thank you for what has been discussed in this place. And we believe that whoever has attended the event, they came out with something that they're going to make use of. We thank you for transformation that is going to happen as a result of this event. And Father, we bless the launch of this common code Ndarama, and we believe that it's going to go very far. Father, we thank you for the gathering. We thank you for everything. We even thank you for the nation of Zimbabwe, for the ideas that are coming in this place. Father, we thank you for all the panelists, whatever they've shared into us. Let this go very far in changing our livelihoods. And we thank you, Father. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.